first guest today has been called the most inspiring man on social media.
For the past 20 years, personal trainer Jovino McLean has dedicated his life to training those who've previously felt overlooked or unwanted in a gym.
This includes people with disabilities, long-term illnesses, or even conditions like dementia. And his inspirational workout videos have now won the hearts of millions around the world and gained him Hollywood fans like Michelle Pfeiffer.
3, 2, 1, 1. That's all you. And again, nearly there, babe. Go on now. I'm not doing it for you. Push it on. Keep going, Justin. Keep going. Go on, go on. There you go. Go on now. Come on now, Paul. Go on. Go on, get up. Keep coming. Go on, give me a cuddle. Cuddle party. Go on, keep coming. Control it. Control it, boy. Yes, that's it.
I texted you last night talking about the one with Lucas crossing the road. I was literally floods of tears.
As he releases his debut book, You Are Not Your Limits, thrilled that Jovino joins us alongside two of his very special clients, Amy Hodgkiss and Josh Goy. Morning, everybody.
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
So lovely to meet you all. Jovino, congratulations, firstly, on the book.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
It's a wonderful read. I discovered you, as you know, just randomly. You popped up on my algorithm and I was gripped from the first moment I saw one of your videos training up your incredibly inspiring clients. And I was hooked. And I've been hooked ever since. We've been mates since then for a long time. But I'm trying to sort of explain to somebody who maybe hasn't come across you where you found this passion for training and helping people. Because it's not just about being physically fit for you, is it?
It's about forever friendships, and these guys and my clients that I've trained over the years, I think muscle can go, Ben. I think muscles and aesthetics, you get to a certain age, that can go. But when you truly care for people and love people, that's what will last forever for me. And to me, just making sure people feel seen and valued and just appreciated, that to me is the magic.
And it all kind of started a little bit by accident. You'd always loved sport, you'd loved cricket, you'd done all that, but you spotted a chap in the park who was watching his family play cricket, and from across the field, you just felt that something wasn't quite right.
And I had no reason, I love telling the story of Ishmael, but I had no reason to go over, but there's something inside of me felt like I just needed to intervene. I seen that he wanted in. It reminded me of, you know, when you see Wimbledon and as the ball's going, people doing this.
Yeah.
And he was doing that with the ball in his wheelchair. And long story short, I went over and I just made sure that he got involved, and I brought his family into the group of cricket that I was already coaching a big cricket session. And I just made him bat, and I said, for 2 hours, you're going to bat. And I made a game of it where if he hit the ball, everyone fielding, it was like 24 people. Nothing happens. If he swings and he misses, everybody did one press-up or one burpee. And his wife gave me a hug that just meant everything. She didn't speak a word of English, but I knew exactly what that hug meant, and I knew that that was my calling. I don't know what made me go over, but I'm so glad that I did go over.
And that moment as well, Jovino, when you suddenly realised that there was this gentleman who was sitting in his wheelchair, enjoying watching the sport, but desperate to get more involved. That was such a spark for you to go, there must be lots of people who feel excluded by exercise and sport because of physical issues or whatever. And actually, is there a way that you can make that accessible to them?
I think it's about treating people normal. It's about normality, Ben. I think it's the most powerful thing. And that's what my book is really about. It's about the power of normality and how the smallest acts of inclusion can change someone's life. And I think my work has allowed me to just be in a position where I'm just grateful, man. And I want people to just really absorb gratitude and just be really thankful for who they are and realise that they can do. When you watch these superstars do some of the stuff that they do, it instantly makes you go, I can do a lot more than what I thought I ever could.
Yeah.
And I think it makes people kind of realise that.
And from reading the book as well, it doesn't just improve people's fitness and strength. It means that people can get back their independence.
Of course it does, yeah.
You write in the book about Kira, about her being able to get in and out of the car now because you've trained her.
Yeah, definitely. I want him to live.
Yeah.
I think living life to the fullest is a gift that not everybody gets. And these wonderful people that I train, and I've trained for 20 years, I want them to enjoy life to the fullest. And sometimes there's certain things that we take for granted. The ability just to move, and it sounds silly, but getting in a car, I want these guys to experience the most magical things that life has to offer. And some of the magical things are the most simplest things.
One of the things I love, though, about watching your films as well is you don't give them an easy time.
No.
Let Josh Amy, he works you really hard, doesn't he?
He definitely does. We don't know what we're doing when we get in the gym, but I'm telling you, we give it 110% all the time.
Yeah. That's what you want to hear.
You got it.
Amy, how did you discover Jovino and what's he been able to help you with?
I discovered Jovino through TikTok. My friend actually sent me his videos, and I just knew that I had to get in with him. For me, personally, he's allowed me to be more independent, give me a lot more confidence back, because I never used to leave the house. So he definitely has given me so many opportunities that I'm so, so grateful for.
And Josh, he pushes you hard, but he makes you laugh too.
Oh, always, every time. Whether it's a joke or just by how outlandish the workout is, he always makes me laugh.
And how did you first meet each other?
I met him because, basically, because his health centre is just right down the road from me. Mm-hmm. My auntie told me about him, and then we got in touch, and this will always this will stay with me, this quote, because the first time I met him, he said, "I don't care about what you can't do. I only care about what you can do." And that just set the standard going forward. Yeah. I knew that I'd made the right choice, and here we are.
Here you are.
Josh just mentioned there, it's a health centre. You call it a health centre. And that's a really deliberate thing that you've done.
Of course.
Isn't it?
A gym can be quite intimidating. It could be quite lonely, especially for people that are new to exercise. If you walk in the gym and you see stallions like Ben Shepherd doing his bicep curls and his jumps, it could be quite intimidating. So I wanted to create a place where you could walk in there and it's a place full of love, man. You could have them two doing some wheelchair exercise. It could have my mum doing some Pilates.
Yeah.
It could have me doing some deadlifts over there, somebody doing... Just a place where all different calibre of humans are exercising together, but we're all sharing the energy and the love of the place.
But what I love, Jovino, is that it's not somewhere... It's not like an occupational therapy environment. It is a gym. Mm-hmm. There's hardcore people training there as well, in a community of people having a lot of fun. So people can come and be private members and pay, but you look after all of these members and you do it for free. You do it you do it just because you know there's an important part of who you are and the difference it makes to them.
Of course, I've trained disabled people and disadvantaged people free for 23 years. And the reason being is we live in a world now where people chase money. If I train Josh or Amy and I take money off him, I'm training them for financial gain. I'm training them because I love them and I want them to live life. I want them to turn 50, 60, 70 and have memories, living their greatest life. If money comes into that conversation, it dilutes my care or my love for them. So as long as I live, I'll never take a penny off anybody disabled.
And some of the stuff you train the guys with is potentially life-saving as well, of course, because of the restrictions that they have with their mobility. You're training them to cope if they fell or come out of their chair or something goes wrong. I think some of the footage we've got is remarkable. Amy, how do you feel now physically after working out with Jovino?
I feel like there's a lot that's changed, and it's all because of him. Like, when I started, I couldn't do half the things I can do now, and that's all because of Jovino.
Amazing. And how about you, Josh?
Well, I've seen a lot of improvement in both my physical strength and my mental strength, because a lot of the stuff what he does with me is really hard. But now, because I've done so much over the years, I can go into it and think I can do this.
Yeah.
And you never thought you could run, right?
No, I mean...
Now he's legging it.
That is still, that is one of the hardest things I've ever done. Like, I was exhausted after that.
This clip here of you running around the centre.
Look at it, look at it.
Keep up now.
Yeah, that was hard work, but I'll tell you what, it's worth it because because then everybody can see that and think, I can do that as well.
Yeah, and Amy as well. And we're running out of time, and we've got so much to talk about.
Yep.
You've gone global, all of you, because his videos are well known around the world. So you two and all the other clients are now superstars in your own right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable. I can't believe it myself, and I'm so grateful for everybody's messages. It's just lovely from everybody around the world.
It's just brilliant.
You know what I love the most, sorry, before we go? I tell people all the time, you're beautiful, you're strong. As big brother, I'm supposed to say that, but now, because they're superstars in their own right, I can just say, I told you so. When you've got people from all around the world
Which is exactly what big brothers do as well.
Exactly.
So you listen to your big brother.
Yeah.
What a smashing human being. Huh?
Amazing.
Absolutely. Your book, You Are Not Your Limits, by Jovino, is out now. You
Yes.
can go get it.
Buy me book, guys.
I also feel like this could be a movie.
You think?
Yeah.
Let's make it.
Shall we make the movie?
You got the
Let's give
connections.
Michelle Pfeiffer a call, shall we?
Yes, Michelle Pfeiffer's
Let's
one of your
give her a
fans, as she
call.
should be. Who would you think, Amy, who should play Jovino in the movie of his life?
I'd say Will Smith.
Will Smith would be bad.
Good choice.
He looks like him.
He looks like him, no, I don't.
And he's funny.
Yeah.
He's funny.
I'm
Or The
funny.
Rock. What about The Rock? Oh, no, not so sure about that.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
being
guys.
here.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Josh. Thank you, Amy. Lovely to see you. Thank you for coming on the show.
This is an incredible book. It's so inspiring. Can't recommend it
You'll
enough.
cry, for
You'll
sure.
cry,
and
I
you'll
cried.
laugh. Yeah.
You won't
you'll
cry
do the
about the
whole
introduction.
lot.
No, that's a little bit embarrassing. Jovino, lovely to see you.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
Amy and
guys.
Josh, for coming
Bye,
in.
everyone.
Oh, hello.
Lovely to meet
Thank
you.
you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
Jobs, therapy, you name it, artificial intelligence is already part of our daily lives. But what really is it, and how do we use it to our advantage, and should we be scared of it?
Well, cybersecurity expert Jake Moore has helped businesses including the Bank of England, IBM and Meta get themselves ready for advances in AI technology.
Also joining us today is a brand new member of the This Morning family, our very own AI expert, Julia, who you can see here is not a real person. She is completely generated by artificial intelligence. And by the wonders of AI, we can actually talk to her live now. We're going to talk to her in just a second. How did you create Julia, Jake?
So, AI is fantastic. We're having so much fun with it at the moment. Over the last couple of years, it's just exploded. And there are so many tools out there that are able to give you so much more support in business and your social life. And there is so much out there that can benefit you. And so these tools that might seem quite strange are available to clone yourself or even clone, say, a PA like this.
So now, interestingly, Jake, can I ask how old you are?
I'm 43.
You're 43. So do you remember Tomorrow's World?
Oh, yeah.
OK, so Maggie Philbin used to have these sorts of things where they'd test technology live and it would go wrong, which is exactly what's happened. Julia's crashed. And in order to reactivate it, I think you've got to go behind the sofa and reboot the computer.
Well, they do say that you should never work with kids, animals, and now AI.
AI. So do you want to go and relaunch Julia? This is exactly what used to happen with Tomorrow's World. I feel like it's a throwback to the late 80s.
For sure. I know exactly what you mean.
But you've created Julia, haven't you, Jake, using some pretty straightforward, simple software. It wasn't the most complicated thing to do. And in theory, if we get her working again, we'll be able to understand exactly how effective an AI assistant can be.
Yeah, so hopefully she comes back to life any minute now. But, yeah, you really can interact with it like you're working with, say...
Oh, there you go.
There she is. Like you're working with a real person, like in ChatGPT.
Right, OK, so let's try talking to her. Julia, what is AI?
AI, or artificial intelligence, refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are designed to think and learn like people. It encompasses various technologies, such as machine learning and natural language processing, allowing computers to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. It's a fascinating field with endless possibilities.
Julia, we haven't told you what to say, have we?
No, you haven't. I'm here to provide information and assistance based on your queries. If there's anything specific you'd like to know, feel free to ask.
Okay, so Julia, why does AI exist?
AI exists to enhance efficiency, automate tasks, and improve decision-making processes across various fields. It helps solve complex problems, enables innovation, and makes life easier by providing tools that assist in everyday activities. It's all about making things smarter and more streamlined.
Jake, maybe you can simplify that for us. I mean, she got quite serious, didn't she?
She got very serious about, don't even think that you've given me the questions and I've heard my answer.
So just, can you simplify it? Because there'll be people watching at home going, this is all fascinating, but what does it actually mean?
So AI takes a load of data and it puts all that data into what we call an algorithm, and then it works out what you're saying, what you're asking it, and it looks through all that data, and it puts it through this, and it comes out with an answer. But now, over the last couple of years, you can add tone to it, or you could just say, show it a photo, and it can understand what it can see, and it can do so much. In fact, it's so creative, you can do pretty much anything with it.
It's advanced significantly, but it's been around a while now, right?
Yeah, so for the last 20 years, we've called it machine learning. Hence, the data in there, it's just looked through all this data and tried to establish what you might want from that. But the intelligent part of it, which is what we're seeing over the last, say, couple of years with ChatGPT and things, it's really starting to take the next level and evolve so quickly. And we're seeing things like this, and when it works, you can interact with it like this.
OK, so, Julia, why does AI scare people?
Many people find AI frightening due to concerns about job displacement, privacy issues, and the potential for misuse in dangerous ways. Additionally, portrayals in media often emphasize dystopian scenarios, leading to fears about a loss of control. It's essential to navigate these concerns thoughtfully as we continue to advance in technology.
Julia, can I ask, those portrayals in the media and in films, which characters are you talking about?
While I can't ask you questions, I can share that characters like HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey and Skynet from Terminator are often cited as examples that evoke fears about AI. These portrayals highlight the potential dangers and ethical dilemmas surrounding advanced artificial intelligence, shaping public perception and concern. It's definitely an intriguing topic.
Could it happen?
While the scenarios depicted in films are largely fictional, there are valid discussions around the risks associated with advanced AI development. Experts are actively working on ethical guidelines and safety measures to ensure that AI technology is developed responsibly, aiming to prevent undesirable outcomes. It's a proactive approach to shaping a safe future with AI.
So, Julia, can you deceive people? Can AI deceive people?
AI can indeed produce outputs that may mislead or deceive if used improperly, such as generating false information or deepfakes. However, responsible use and ethical guidelines are crucial to minimize these risks and ensure AI serves to inform and assist rather than deceive. It's all about using technology wisely.
We have to use technology wisely. It's fascinating hearing her respond. I feel like she did confirm that the Terminator could happen as well, though. It might just be me. Let's go back to that point, that question that Kat just asked about being deceived, because you work as a security expert, and you actually use AI to try and test certain businesses' security, don't you? Cybersecurity. What sort of things have you done?
Yeah, so I like to use the latest technology just like scammers would, and try and test out the security in businesses. So a couple of years ago, for example, I cloned the voice of the CEO of a business. I hacked into his phone with permission, I've got to add. I then stole his WhatsApp number and then sent a voice note with the CEO's voice to the financial director asking for them to move money. And I asked them to move money into my account, and it took me 15 minutes to get £250 sent into my account.
From the CFO of a big business?
Yep.
I mean, you'd think somebody who would be really conscious of that sort of thing. It's amazing how sophisticated that was.
Yeah, so this is all about, say, hacking the human. And we hear about this all the time, but it's the fact that we can actually speak to people sounding like people now. It's not just an email or a text message. And that's where they are convinced into believing, well, it's got to be them. It's coming from the number, sounds like their voice, well, yeah, it's not, say, policy to do it this way, but I've got to do it because they've got time constraints, for example.
Jake, I feel like I need to know so much more about this. I was going through Instagram this morning, and Joe Frost, Super Nanny, had put a post up actually saying, it was so weird that it was on this same day as well, talking about AI and saying, this is coming. As parents, we need to properly inform ourselves before we just kind of open the floodgates and let it over to our children. My kids are 9 and 7. How can I learn about it more? How can I find more information? And how can we keep our kids safe in a way and protect them?
I think it's all about learning with them. I think it's not just kids that are learning this now, it's all of us. Just like when, say, Google came out, we started to play around with it. I think we need to be playing around with these AI agents like ChatGPT. In fact, ChatGPT is being used more of a search engine now than Google in many parts of the world. And it can create this tone. You can teach it to speak, say, in a way that you'd like it to. Yeah. And it will respond in a way that you want it to, say, to a child as well. Right. So I think definitely work with them, just like with apps and going through security features and so on, making sure you're safe, the child is safe. I do it with my kids, and they love ChatGPT and other agents out there. But as long as you know that what you're putting into it, read the privacy terms. So if you're paying for, say, a ChatGPT agent, then you tend to have them more encrypted, and the safer ones are those.
Okay.
If you were nervous about AI stealing your jobs, don't worry too much, because unfortunately Julia's glitched again. I think she got tired. But it's been fascinating, Jake. Just as an exercise, us genuinely asking those questions. She had no idea what we were going to talk about and was able to respond with incredible answers, really.
Yes, yeah.
And it's just going to get better. That's going to get more and more seamless, isn't it?
Absolutely. And we are still in this early phase of AI. It's only really been a couple of years with this generative AI. So the way we've been using ChatGPT and creating images just from typing in a few words. If we can do this now, and it's moving so quickly, just think in the next couple of years, it's going to be even better. It's going to learn so much by us putting in that data.
And then it's eventually going to take over. Don't say that, Jake.
Definitely not going to take over. But it's going to be like having a colleague to bounce ideas off, or just to get any idea. Maybe you're, I don't know, creating a birthday party for your child on the weekend. You need some ideas. It can tailor it to exactly that.
Those are the things I think will be really cool.
Yeah, it's not going away. We've got to learn more about it, for sure.
Thank you, Jake.
Oh, you're welcome.
And thank you, Julia.
Julia, please pass on. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning. And two of the virgins, Jason and Taylor, are with us now this morning. We've been chatting about it already, haven't we? It looked like a gorgeous place, by the way.
It was stunning.
Absolutely beautiful. Taylor, so why did you choose to do it? Because, as Ben has said, it's a really brave move, actually.
Yeah, well, I saw it on TikTok, actually. There was a comedian kind of taking the mick out of it, and I was like, no way. So I looked into it and was like, oh, there's a show for virgins. And I was speaking to it with a colleague at work, and she was like, you should totally apply. And I said, no, but I ended up looking at it and kind of treated the application process as a mini therapy session by itself, and just really spilt my guts, thinking that I would never get called back.
Right.
And then they did contact me, and it was so fast. And then everything's kind of happening, and then you end up on the island and you're still like reeling, going, how did this happen? But yeah, I was kind of at the point where I felt like I'd tried everything and had kind of just gone, right, I'm too scared, just give up. And like this came as a really good opportunity for me.
Yeah.
So it was a mixture of bad experiences along the way and fear that had meant you'd got to the age of 30 and you hadn't had a chance to lose your virginity. And then it would become a bigger thing than it probably ever should have been.
Honestly, it gets bigger and bigger as you get older, especially because you start off as a teenager, and like some people haven't, some people have. Then you get to your mid-20s and some people are like really weird about it. And then you get to your 30s and they're like, we've given up on you. Like they start making films about you. Then
and you'd almost given up on yourself as well. I mean, you said you'd kind of gone, well, that's it, I'm not. I am happy with the way I am, and I'm a full person without all of this. But it was such a shame that like it's just something that I didn't have that everyone else did.
Yeah. And Jason, you went in there, you seemed to have a real problem when you started to watch the show about intimacy and any form of kind of touch, really.
I couldn't do any touching. The handshake, I didn't think a handshake was that hard, but intense.
You found it difficult? Why? Where did that come from?
I don't know. Look, my family would never hug us.
Right.
Like, my granddad would give me like, I don't know, like, maybe like that. I can't do it, but like a handshake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't do it myself.
Like-
But I don't know. Whenever someone's ever tried to hug me, I feel like, oh, I'm getting suffocated. I don't like that, and just don't touch me. Keep a distance. Like social distancing. COVID was great for me. Do you know what I mean? It was great. I was like 6 feet. Yeah, amazing. But I didn't want to always be like that. I wanted to one day meet a woman and be able to just like, not just a handshake, like a hug and just feel great, but not just in a romantic way either. Like just hugging my mum. Like,
Because you didn't hug your mum, did you?
No.
And that you weren't a huggy family at all.
Not at all, not at all. But it was her 50th the other day, and hello, Mum. But no, so we hugged, and it was great. And
How has she found that? Has she enjoyed being able to hug you as well and being able to share that?
she's still a bit on edge about hugging still, but she's still a lot older than me. Well, not a lot older, sorry. She'll kill me now. But I feel like with hugging, she's set in her ways about not wanting to hug, but she has started hugging, and it's nice to see.
makes a
'cause
difference.
For me, it feels so great now. It feels so natural. Like, can I hug you?
Yeah.
But like, what about consent as well?
Yeah.
You learned that. That was drilled in.
But it was lovely actually to see even on the island, like you first of all put your hand on someone's knee and then hold their hand too. And the therapist seemed really kind too.
All the therapists, you can't knock them, even if you tried. They're so amazing. And we were definitely thrown in the deep end, but they were there to guide us, and they truly did guide us. And I can't spoil anything, but I know, 'cause I was there, but I know it's going to get a lot better, and some people are going to shock you. I can't say who, but it's going to shock you.
But it is an extraordinary thing, though, Taylor, because we watch you, and these are very personal, intimate things you're sharing. And even the slightest suggestion that someone's going to come close to you, you break down in tears. You were so emotionally sort of caught up in what was going on.
So I was like, I'm fine with hugging my friends and I'm very tactile with my friends and my family, but it was a case of, it was the act of being desired that made me really, it kind of put the fear in me, and I'd freeze up and I'd start feel like, you know, crying, obviously. But for me, I am quite an emotional person, and it was this kind of freeze in the headlights moment that I kept on running into, which was causing the issue. And it was constant. And then eventually, like, I ended up on the island, and they were like, I remember, I think there's a part in episode 2 where I cry in front of Tom, but before I started, she said to Tom, she went, Taylor might cry. And I was thinking, I'm not going to cry. He's just looking at me. And then he looked at me and I was like, bing! And it just started, so I was like...
And was Tom your surrogate?
No, Tom's one of the other islanders.
He's one of the other islanders.
Yeah.
Because you had one of the things I was fascinated by was the sex therapists that you've got there that are helping you with your intimacy. Some of them are surrogates, so some of them are there potentially to just explain what. Jason, maybe you can explain what the surrogates are there for.
Well, I didn't have a surrogate, but the surrogates, Kat and Andre, they're there for the more hands-on, the nitty-gritty, as
The
you'd say.
physicality.
The physicality of it. And you'll definitely see what happens with that. But
so if you are prepared and confident enough to go forward with something more physical than
they're the ones that do it.
The really intimate stuff, they are there for you to enable you to do that.
Yeah, they're there to
guide you through
you all the way through it and help you do it.
And help you so you know what you're doing and you can feel safe and you can feel confident. That's an extraordinary job, isn't it?
Well, it's better than, because if you're in a situation where you're going to go home and then have to do this with a stranger, like, they're in a place where they're able to guide you through it, keep you safe, keep you calm, and take it in a really therapeutic place. It's not like hooking up with somebody on a night out. It's therapy, and it's all about taking you through the steps of intimacy and getting you to there.
I like actually how they discuss everything mentally and emotionally too, as well as just the physicality of everything. You just talked then about going home, because you recorded it, like a year ago or something like that?
Full year. We're on the anniversary.
So how has it been, like, since leaving the island? Because I think it's very easy to...
Yeah, when you're there.
Yeah, and you're supported by, as I said, the therapists, I think, are great, and they seem to support you in every way that you need to. But to suddenly leave the island and then be popped back into your regular life with your families and your friends. Has it been since leaving the island, and have you been dating?
Do you want to go first?
Oh, well, thank you, ladies first. Well, I mean, for me, it was getting home was kind of like for me, I know some people slid straight into it. It was kind of like hitting that brick wall all over again because you get home and then you have to start putting it into practice. I have been on a couple of dates, but I've been so much more selective because for me, I was pushing myself to do things I was uncomfortable with in an attempt to try and like make myself do the thing. Whereas now I can do what I feel is best for me. And I feel like my dating life has been a lot more positive because of it. Not necessarily more fruitful, but but I feel like I'm not afraid to go on a date. I'm not afraid to make the first move, and that's something that it's given me that I didn't really have before. So that's really nice. Like I can take that home with me.
That's
Good.
fabulous. And
What about you?
Jason?
So mine's a bit different. Well, OK. So a couple of weeks ago, I asked someone out for the first time on a date.
Amazing.
I can't say who this person is,
No.
but you'll see her on TV. I'm not going to spoil who it is, but she's currently abroad, and I said, would you ever come back to the UK, have a drink as a date? And she was saying, I don't know if I'll come back to the UK. So I said, is that a rejection? And she was like, don't be silly, of course it's not a rejection. So I was like, yes. And I'm like, maybe I would have preferred it as a rejection, because what if she doesn't come back to the UK? But I'm glad I did it, because without the island, I would not have had the confidence. Like, short sleeves now, I would never have worn this ever. Like, I'm so more comfortable.
So you're more exposing yourself as well. It's amazing, isn't it? For a lot of people, they'll think that's a really simple thing, just putting a T-shirt on and getting your arms out in the sunshine. But actually, it was a really big deal for you, Jason.
It was.
This whole thing is a really big deal for all of you. You're so brave. It's fascinating.
Thank you.
Really, really engaging watch as well.
Yeah, it is.
You know.
And how much you've come on as people as well since the first show, because we've only watched the first one, haven't we? The first two. But you were like so confident and sparkly and
Thanks.
well done.
Thank you. I'm not crying, which is a massive difference from the show.
No, can I just say, I sat out that session because I had a sore throat, because I left the aircon
Oh, this was
overnight.
the first one. You know what? Yeah. But do you think you would have sat it out if you went back and did it now, even with the sore throat?
Maybe, maybe. But now, like, presently, not at all. I'll be proper in. I'll be like, yeah, man, wave it about, everything. But,
Thank you so much for coming on and chatting to us.
And good luck with the dating and the future exploits. Long may they be fruitful and exciting.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Virgin Island continues tonight, 9 o'clock on Channel 4. Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning. It's a fascinating programme, isn't it? Lorraine Bolger and Hilary Geelan join us now, alongside criminologist Professor David Wilson. Good morning to all of you. Thank you for coming in.
Good morning.
So, Lorraine, let's go back to the beginning. How did Samantha come into your lives?
I'm a hairdresser. About 2016, I befriended her as a client. Lovely, bubbly girl, able to help people. I really thought she was fabulous.
And what did she say she did? What was her background?
She was a child therapist. She was opening a women's refuge in Dunleary. And we just wanted to help. We just wanted to help her set it up. And, you know, she seemed amazing.
And then, Lorraine, you put her in touch with Hilary because, Hilary, you have a little boy who's how old, Reece?
He's currently 13 years of age.
13 years old.
And he has autism. So the problem is the services we don't have. So, you know, the UK and Ireland, we don't have any services for any of our kids. So Lucy... I had a bad weekend, and Lucy, as I know her, so Lucy, I rang her up, and she came out basically that weekend, and it was a miracle that a therapist was available immediately. So I was so happy. It was like winning the lottery. It was just, whoa, we got some help finally. You know, there was nobody ready to help us.
So this was help that you were paying for, though. She described herself as a professional child therapist. And your son has neurodivergent needs, and she said she works with children like that. So she comes to the house, she looks after you, helps a little bit. What was it like having her there? What was that moment like?
It was €100 a therapy session per hour, and she was there for 6 hours. And the first time she was there, I was kind of panicking, but it was going to be for free. And
so like a trial session?
Like a trial session, just to get a rapport up. So I thought, oh, this is going to be brilliant, this is. And as I looked at her, I didn't have enough information about what an occupational therapist does.
Sure.
But I was like looking at her going, that's a bit weird. You know, everything that she did wasn't what I would have said a professional would have done, and the way that she carried herself, her manner and everything.
Right. And then, so then she kind of stayed with you guys and wanted to set up a women's refuge. So asked for donations.
Yep.
Yes.
And what did you end up giving her?
Well, she would ring you and say, I have a lady coming in with twins. We'd go off and get twin buggies, twin clothing, women's clothes, size 8. Somebody's pregnant, size 14.
So you'd provide all the various accessories and paraphernalia.
Because we have the contacts, people trust us.
Because we're
it's easier to ask for help for other people than it is to ask for help for yourself.
Right.
So we'd ask people, and people would provide us with size 10 clothes, double buggy, tins of tomatoes for the women's refuge, sanitary items, baby items, toys, everything.
But it wasn't just items as well. In the end, she was saying that she was going to do a trip to Lapland.
Yes.
And everybody was donating money as well.
That was going to be subsidised, and all she needed was a copy of the passport and €100 per person.
So people started paying a deposit?
Yes.
So they could go on this trip. It sounded like a fabulous idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Subsidised Lapland.
Subsidised by the church and by the refuge. Yeah.
And so you then started inviting other people to come on the trip?
Because we have a load of people that would be very maybe needy, have, you know, children with additional needs and stuff. And, so it seemed like a really...
And we also had Lynn, who had a terminally ill child with Rett syndrome, Daisy. So she was coming on the trip with her mother and her daughter, because Daisy wouldn't have been able to come on the trip because she has to have her oxygen.
Do you know how much money you fronted for that, particularly to her?
I imagine she probably got in the region of maybe, I don't know, maybe 10,000.
10,000 euros.
But
for that particular...
But
scrap.
Money is not the issue.
No, of course. But it's interesting to contextualise it for the viewers to kind of understand the scale of what she was doing.
None of her scams was financial always. Some of them was just to hurt people. She left one family homeless. She left them homeless because she got them a place to rent. And they handed in their notice with their landlord. It wasn't just for financial gain. OK. I'm not sure. We have to be careful about allegations with some of these things. I'm not sure that's been proven or not, so we have to give her a right of reply on that. So we just have to be careful that that's an alleged scam that she did. It's a fascinating thing, though, because, of course, your child is being looked after by this supposed professional who isn't a professional. At what point did you start questioning what was happening?
Yeah.
When did it start to unravel?
I picked her up from an appointment and I went to the receptionist and I said, "Hi, I'm here to pick up Lucy Fitzwilliams." And she said, "There's nobody here." And I said, "OK, Lucy Williamson?" And I thought, oh, my God, I'm going mad. I'm getting her name wrong. And she said, "No." And I said, "Lucy Fitzwilliams, I don't know. And she goes, "There's a lady here by the name of Samantha." And I went, "What?" And I said, "That's a bit weird." And she says, "Well, she's the only lady here." So I said, "OK, yeah, that's her." And I walked in and there she was. And I'm like, "Lucy," I said, "the receptionist is after calling you by a different name." And she started panicking. "I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here."
So she never explained why this woman was calling her Samantha?
No.
And you didn't pursue that?
Oh, we did ourselves.
But at that point, you didn't? You then go back and start communicating?
No, you start kind of doubting yourself. Maybe I heard wrong. Maybe it was my fault. Even though I knew this lady for, at this stage, it would have been about 7-8 months. I had known her.
her €100 an hour for
per
therapy?
session, 1 hour. That's what she was charging people.
So a significant amount of money. You were paying her to do this stuff, to look after your child, the most precious thing in your life. It's an amazing thing to sit. But you can understand. I wonder, sort of, when did it really start to unravel? When did you both start to realise, and actually the wider community, that she wasn't all she'd cracked up to be?
Well, there was a few things, like she wasn't dealing with, like, maybe Reese properly. But I kind of went digging and I couldn't find anything about her. And then I went to the house that she was staying in. And then I checked with the council and the house she was building wasn't in her name. And then I went door to door and I found that the refuge didn't exist. And
how do you feel at this point?
Well, the more and more stuff that I was getting, the more and more anxious I was becoming, because I had put her in touch with a lot of people. And so then I went to the house and I went through her stuff, and I found, like, you know, lots of things, but I found, like, the burner phones, the bank card with Samantha Cook's, all the notebooks with all the different...
And you set up a TikTok account too, didn't you? Where there was other people who'd scammed...
We're not very good at TikTok.
Right.
We're not very good at like Instagram or anything like that. We have very busy lives, and that's one of the reasons why she was able to scam us, because we never checked out her name.
Yeah.
So the TikTok girls, Chrissy, was after setting up this account, and Lorraine was after putting in this name. Like, every now and then Lorraine will put in her name to see what pops up into Google search.
Yeah.
And Chrissy's name popped up. So she said, she rang me and she said, Hilary, you need to find out how to work that TikTok thing because I don't understand it. So I emailed Chrissy as best as I could with TikTok or whatever it was telling me to do. And I said, you need to talk to Lorraine Bulger. Myself and Lorraine Bulger, we think we're with the same scam.
Yeah.
So Chrissy added us to the WhatsApp group with 20 other people who are our victims.
It's extraordinary, David, listening to this from your perspective and your understanding of how these people work. She was found guilty of some of her crimes, wasn't she, and sentenced?
Yes. So as recently as March 2025, so just a few months ago, she was found guilty of social welfare fraud. This is when she's claiming benefits under a completely different name, Carrie Jade Williams, in which she is claiming as that character that she has Huntington's disease.
Yes.
And in effect, she defrauds the Irish government out of 60,000 euros. As Hilary and Lorraine were saying, sometimes this isn't about the money.
Sure.
This is about them being taken advantage of, because what she's very good at doing, as I was explaining earlier, and by the way, I love the fact I'm wearing Irish green. As I was explaining earlier, she's very good. Samantha Cooks is very good at being a mirror. She sees what you need and reflects back to you exactly what you want. So she was like, you know, you were looking for a child occupational therapist. Guess what? She's a child occupational therapist. She's very good at doing that. But yeah, she's been found guilty. She's also been found given suspended sentences in relation to other cons that she's taken part in. Often these cons fall into two different groups. She's either pretending that she's got an illness of some kind, or she's providing a service. The service is usually orientated towards children. The documentary, which is wonderful, is called Bad Nanny, because clearly she's claiming to be a nanny. Other times she'll claim to be a therapist. Other times she'll be claiming to be a psychologist. Or other times she'll be claiming that she's going to be a surrogate mother, an offence for which she received in England a suspended sentence.
We put all these allegations to Samantha. Her lawyers haven't had the opportunity to speak to her yet to get out what her response is. From your perspective, the thing that I can't understand is why she wants to do this. Because as the lady said, for her as well, it wasn't always about the money. It was just about control. It was about power. But why would she want to do it, David?
So I think that she's got a personality disorder. The personality disorder would be pseudologia fantastica, which I absolutely love as a name. It's just a wonderful descriptive clinical term, and it simply means compulsive liar. So this isn't somebody that is just going to tell little white lies, but consistently, compulsively lie. And the reason why she wants to lie is to present herself either as heroic or as sympathetic, and by doing so, she's a great performer. That's what you hear from Lorraine and Hilary. This is somebody who likes performing. She likes that centre stage. And so often, by presenting herself as heroic or sympathetic, she's able to manipulate you for money, although money isn't the point, because underlying all of this is probably something like narcissistic personality disorder, even a bit of psychopathy.
Can she be rehabilitated? I mean, she's in prison at the minute. She's serving a sentence now. What's the future hold? I mean, how do you protect people like Hillary and Lorraine in the future. That
You protect people like Hillary and Lorraine because they're protecting other people by doing this show, by talking about what's happening. The judge has given 1 year of her 4-year sentence suspended in the hope that she gets treatment. Good luck with that. In my experience of dealing with people like this, there is no cure. They are born this way, and that's how they will remain until they die.
Well, thank you for coming in and sharing the story. How is the community? How is everybody now? Are you all sort of healing from this experience?
Well, we all have a really good support group. The WhatsApp group has led us down paths that we never thought possible with lovely friends, and that we'll all support each other. And that with the documentary, with your help, with what's happened here today, that no other families will feel the fear that she instilled.
Good for you, Lorraine.
So we win.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in this morning.
Thank you very much.
You can watch Bad Nanny on BBC iPlayer and RTE Player from
Thank
tonight.
you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.
Start the show with a bit of a question for you. If you're a parent, how many hours a day do you think your teenager spends on their phone? Maybe 2, maybe 3. Well, listen, brace yourselves, because it could actually be nearer 8 or 9 hours a day.
So neuroscientist, Sunday Times bestseller of The Dose Effect, TJ Power, lovely to have you with us, says excessive children's phone use is leading to a worrying epidemic of depression, anxiety and anger issues amongst teens.
So is it possible to prise your kids away from their phones? And if so, how do you do it? Well, TJ joins us now.
Hi,
Welcome to the
TJ.
show.
Hey, guys. Good to
We
have
should
you
say
with us.
thank you for doing this.
Thank you for
really
having me.
important. I think we all know that our children are struggling with their phones, but what is a worrying amount of time that your teens should be on their phone? When do you think, oh, this is worrying? Is it 1, 2, 3?
I think when it goes beyond 4 hours a day, that's
Yeah.
definitely too much. When it can be things like 2 hours a day, that's of course a massive, massive win. But beyond 4 hours a day is going to begin to create these challenges. We're seeing young people facing things like anger, things like depression and low mood or anxiety. And getting this number down is what I really believe is a massive focus society needs to have.
And TJ, do you think, like, is it all screen time, or or no two screen times the same? So could you be on your phone for 2-3 hours and be getting some benefit from it? Like, does it depend on what you're watching?
It does. Screen time massively varies. It's all about this brain chemical called dopamine that's become really famous. The challenging screen time is when dopamine rises far too quickly and it exhausts our dopamine system and burns it out. That's things like when we watch short form videos, it's very exhausting for this dopamine system. If you're on your phone and you're watching longer form content, some kind of educational video or a podcast or an interview like this kind of thing is long form and it's much slower release of dopamine, which is much better for your brain.
Okay.
I mean, why are our teenagers so vulnerable? Because if you think about it, they've kind of grown up with the phone all of their life. They're no different. So how would they ever know that there's a problem?
Yeah, I think for teenagers, their prefrontal cortex at the front of their brain is still developing. And it means they have what we call a hyperactive dopamine system, which effectively means that their brain is going to experience more pleasure from social media than ours does. As adults, we know that social media is still super addictive for us. So you can imagine for them, this is super challenging.
Yeah, okay.
Let's talk about through this
long-term effects.
Yeah.
What would be the long-term effects of phone use for?
It would be massive challenges with attention spans. It would be huge challenges with mood fluctuations. And it would be a real difficulty with things like depression and anxiety.
Okay.
So like Ali says, let's talk about the dose effect. This is the book, which is DOSE. Can you explain what each of those mean?
Yeah, so the first chemical is called dopamine. That's the chemical creating all of our motivation and our ability to do hard, effortful things. Oxytocin is this beautiful hormone that creates love within us. As humans, it connects us together. In the modern world, dopamine is kind of taking the focus and we're getting less connection and oxytocin. Serotonin is all about our mood. And then endorphins is this really useful chemical that can de-stress and calm our brain.
Okay. And you have techniques relating to all of those, right?
I do, yeah. We can run through some of those.
Go on, dopamine. How do we get more dopamine in life?
Yeah, so particularly with parents working with their teenagers, one of the best things for dopamine is what we call flow state. Flow state is where you get really deeply focused on a task. What's happening in the modern world is rather than actually spending lots of time in flow state, teenagers are actually watching other teenagers on their social media feeds in flow state instead of them. That basically means if you're scrolling and you're watching someone that's really good at art or singing or music or dance or sport, rather than actually actively engaging in that and earning dopamine yourself, you're watching others do it instead. So a simple thing parents and kids can do is look at their feeds, identify the most frequently occurring videos, and then actively do the thing instead of watching the thing.
Also, if you're watching someone else do something well, especially being at that age, you're comparing yourself to that person.
Yeah.
And it's not a normal comparison like you would, oh, my best friend is really good at music. It's like you're comparing yourself to Beyonce or something, you're comparing yourself to the whole world, right? That can't be healthy.
It's so tricky because obviously the content that succeeds on social media is when people are exceptionally talented or exceptionally good looking. And then it comes into this oxytocin chemical, this love hormone. We can have love for ourselves inside our brain, feeling a lot of envy and jealousy and challenges around, oh, I wish I could be like that person is very challenging for the young brain.
Yeah, sure. That's through connection then, isn't it? That's how you deal with the oxytocin.
Yeah, we really need connection. It's really important that parents really promote their kids socialising outside of the home. Since about the 1980s, 1990s, kids spending time outside of the home has fallen off a cliff, basically. And kids are primarily socialising via like digital messages on their phone. And it's really interesting when you look into this. There's this great study by this lady called Leslie Seltzer that actually found that when two humans are texting one another, none of this oxytocin chemical releases in their brain at all, none of this connection. But when they call one another and hear their voice, it does begin to release.
FaceTime.
Yeah, so...
It's completely different, isn't it? You literally have that connection straight away.
Which I suppose is the modern version of when we got home. Like, your parents always go, you just spent all day with that person, why are you ringing them? But you'd be on the phone to your friends of an evening, wouldn't you?
When true, yeah.
And you got so much out of that.
Yeah, a phone call you can get a lot out of, but just smashing through Snapchat all night in your room, you wouldn't necessarily get as much of that connection we need.
Serotonin, let's talk about that. How do you...
The most important thing we need for serotonin is much more sunlight. It seems very simple, but we know as Brits that when we have the winter, more cloudy days, it affects our mood. It's very important to get more sunlight, especially first thing in the morning. Something we work on with young people is what we call sunlight before social media.
But without sunglasses, I'm assuming.
Ideally without sunglasses, you of course don't want to hurt your eyes.
Yeah.
But if they can have a framework whereby they have to have gone outside and at least looked up and seen sunlight, any sort of sunlight, can be cloudy, before they see a social media app, it just trains their brain to first of all do something effortful, then get on social media next.
Because we talk about being out in gardens all the time.
I know, we're obsessed.
But literally we are. Because it's that moment,
happy
those little moments of like serenity you get before you'd start your day of 5 minutes with a cup of coffee, watching the birds or something. Yeah.
And that sort of thing is beautiful. You're getting dopamine from the effort of the gardening and serotonin from the nature and the sunlight. That sort of thing is what the brain needs.
Brilliant.
Endorphins?
Endorphins is this chemical that de-stresses our brain. It really helps us to release anger and frustration. A lot of young people, especially teenagers, are really struggling with this kind of like anger inside of them. Endorphins are released through physical activity. We literally evolved to physically release stress from our body. And a simple thing we do with them is something that we've just developed called steps for screen time, whereby parents could create a model with their kids and get their kids to be involved in the conversation, whereby, say, for example, they set an idea of you have to do 2,500 steps in order to earn maybe an hour of screen time. And the phone's already tracking the steps. And then if they were to do 10,000 steps, they'd have earned 4 hours of screen time. But the way in which that's going to affect the brain is they're going to have physically released endorphins. It's going to de-stress them before the phone.
It's such a good idea, because there's no point locking these phones away, because that's only going to, they're going to want it back as quickly as possible, right? And so it's all, and also they exist in the modern world. So I suppose your whole thing is it's about the relationship between the teenager and the device.
We just have to learn to work with these phones. They're going to be here to stay, 100%. I got an iPhone when I was super young, so I've really been immersed in this since I can really remember, to be honest. And there is a solution whereby humans still do the healthy, natural things we need to do, and we still get the time on our phones that we all love, but currently the phone is really dominating our time and affecting the mind.
Well, let's welcome 3 students, Toby, Olivia and Marie, who have all tried and tested TJ's method.
Welcome.
Morning, guys. Thanks for coming in. Good to see you. OK, so
nice to meet you
how much time were you spending on your phones before you met TJ?
Maybe probably like 8.
It'd be 8 hours. Yeah. Well, Olivia?
I think mine would have been about 6 hours.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
Marie?
Yeah, mine's gone down 50% from like 3 hours.
50%?
Like, yeah.
That's
It's
great.
unbelievable. Did you, any of you know what the effects, the damaging effects were that you were having by using the phones?
Well, before I kind of, you know it's bad, and you know you're addicted, you know you're attached, but you don't really know what to do until TJ, I guess.
Because Toby, you're like, you're a fit young guy. You should be out there playing. Were you spending time with your friends? And what about the techniques you tried?
Well, yeah, I still spend a lot of time with friends and sport. But still, in your downtime, you're just completely attached to your phone.
Yeah.
So that just completely destroys your mood, and you're just feeling low a lot of the time.
So how did phone fasting work for you?
So, for example, I would leave my phone in another room, so then I can start. So what TJ said about flow state, how you can just be completely locked in. So you're just engaged in your work and you haven't got the temptation.
Yeah.
And this really is one of the most important things is this idea of physical separation from the phone. 'Cause
Yes.
if ever the phone is near us, the dopamine just takes control. Whereas when young people like Toby just mentioned actually put the phone in a different room when they're socialising or working, whatever it may be, suddenly the attachment, the addiction to it can begin to reduce.
And did you find that when you left it in the other room, you could leave it for longer as time went on?
You just kind of forget about it
Yeah.
and you completely get in this flow state and you're just not even tempted to be distracted because you know
Because they
how bad
do
it
so
is.
much. So I wake up, the first thing I do is check the time when I look and see how much time I've got before I need to get up, and then I'm on it, you know. But I'm not necessarily I'm on social media. It's just the fact I physically have it, which annoys me.
And the thing is that first check in the day really drives the addiction to the device because our brain suddenly discovers, oh, I can get dopamine out of this phone rather than another source. An alarm clock would be amazing, damn it.
Got it.
With a timer.
Got it. Done.
Let's get an alarm clock.
You're my alarm clock.
I am sometimes. OK, Marie, tell us a little bit about your flow state, the technique that you was using.
Well, from TJ's talks, he told us that it takes 15 minutes to get into the flow state. So every time that you get distracted by your phone, it restarts. So
the 15 minutes starts again?
Yeah, so then it reduces, like, how your focus and, yeah. So I leave it in another room.
And how has it changed your life?
It's definitely helped me get my homework done and, like, so I can, like, get work done and, like, do stuff and, yeah.
Olivia, you are peak. What are you, 15?
Yeah, 15.
This is like peak, like social media with your friends, needed to communicate with them all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
How has it worked for you?
For me, I think it was a lot about social media was used to connect with my friends a lot, obviously. Yeah. But if I was picking up apps like Snapchat to go and text my friends, it would then lead on to just having a notification popped up that someone posted a video, and it would lead into an endless
Would that be one of your
cycle.
mates? And then it's
one of my mates or just someone that I follow.
Those notifications are probably one of the worst things to have on your phone, aren't they? Because they literally distract you all the time from stopping your life.
Yeah, definitely.
And all your friends, are they using the same techniques now?
Yeah, so since TJ's those workshops, we've all sort of realised what it's doing to us. We always knew that we always felt drained after it, but we never understood the effects. But with the dose workshops, it's like easy, accessible information to understand, and we understand the impacts it is having on our life, on our hormones and stuff.
What's really interesting, all three of you said the same thing, is that you know it's bad, or that level of it is bad. But do you feel like your generation just, in many ways, doesn't have the tools to be able to put it down because it's so addictive?
I feel like you're aware, but just with the increased awareness of actually what it's doing to your attention spans and things like that. And now with these tools, you can kind of actually combat that and fight it.
You guys are the trailblazers.
And you actually you're going to carry this on, aren't you?
So yeah, he's kind of inspired me. I want to take neuroscience as a degree, so I really want to have an impact in this field like he's done.
Oh, well done,
TJ.
That's beautiful.
Game changer. Well done.
I'm so proud of these three. I feel like there's a tide that's changing with young people. I think these three are right at the front, so I kind of applaud them for what they're doing.
Oh,
TJ,
thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. And
this is life-changing.
They brought some honey as well. Did you have the honey?
That's going to be good for your serotonin.
Thank you so much.
They've got so much time on their hands, they're even making their own honey. Bees out there. Give the school a shout out.
Wade in school.
Wade in school. Lovely.
Yeah.
You still
Thanks
there?
for the honey.
Got them in college. So.
Oh, yeah. You're an old school.
And I also went to Godalming College, so it's pretty special
Brilliant.
for us.
Come on, Hammond, sell that book.
This is the book. All parents need it in their life. Get on it. And teenagers, get it as well.
TJ's new book, The Dose Effect, is out. Now, thank you, TJ.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.
It's mayhem in the studio here.
This is Larry.
That is Larry.
This is Larry, who's broken the pineapple. Larry, will you behave? You're a very special guest. We need you to sit down and behave. I'm not sure he's going to. Larry, alongside
Rusty, over here.
Are here because our next guest has dedicated his life to rescuing ill and injured dogs in Thailand on the island of Koh Samui.
And after posting some of the dogs that he's rescued on social media, Niall Harbison has captured the heart of millions of people around the world, successfully finding forever homes for more than 85 dogs who would have otherwise not survived.
We're in the truck again. It's actually multiple rescues. The first one is Unfortunately, he seems a little bit blind, I think. But worst of all is I think his hip is broken. I already need to go to the next place, which is puppies. Oh, look at that. They're all going to come running out. Little potatoes. You can see how many ticks and fleas. Okay. We're going to give them a quick VIP treatment. Basically, I think they need a little powder, a little bit of baths, a little bit of medicine. What a day. It's one of those days where you go home and you think, just a tiny bit changed the world for the better.
We're going to try and save you. We're going to try and save you. We got very special news. You're going to be adopted. The Freedom Dance. Look at the Freedom Dance.
Oh, and Niall joins us now alongside two of the dogs that he saved, Rusty and Larry.
They enjoyed the dog, VT,
They
didn't they?
did. Did you see their ears going?
But...
So who are these guys and how did you rescue them, Niall?
Rusty he was on a chain, actually. He was on a really short little chain outside a little shack in Thailand. A chain was about a foot long or a yard long, and he just kept getting his leg cut up. And he was about half the size. He was really, really thin.
Yeah.
And he was leading a miserable life. He'd been on the chain for 18 months. He'd never been off the chain. Larry was a bit different. I found him wandering around in the main street, and he was just lost. It's as if we think he might have had a brain injury or something. He sort of has a vacant stare.
Oh, he's very chatty.
He is very chatty. So yeah, they're both really tough starts in life, like all of the dogs, but they're as happy as can be now. It's the first time I've seen them in... Rusty I haven't seen for 6 months since he lost Thailand.
Oh, really?
Or left Thailand, yeah.
Right. How did all this start for you, Niall?
Just, well, the dog... I was an alcoholic, actually, when I left here in the UK. And I ended up in hospital in Thailand. I nearly drank myself to death. And I nearly did die. I was in ICU for 4 days. And I just said, I was lucky I got a second chance. And I was like, if I do survive, I'm going to do something in my life that's meaningful. And, oh, Mr. Rusty, come on. So, yeah, once I got out of hospital, I just started by feeding one dog, actually. And we now feed 1,200 every day.
1,200 dogs?
It's so interesting because when you read the book, your book is called Tina, the dog who changed the world.
One of these dogs has just done a fart that changes the world as well, by the way. I mean, Stephen Mangan's
going to be really happy about it.
book.
It becomes very obvious that you saved them, but they also saved you, especially Tina. Can you tell us about Tina?
Yeah, well, she was a really special dog. I found her on a chain. She'd been used for breeding.
Yes.
And if you saw the first photo of her, which I see on the screen, she was the saddest dog I've ever come across in my life. And rescued her, built her back up. She'd had probably 10 litters of puppies in her lifetime, but she was living in her own mess in the smallest little area, and saved her, built her back up. But she only lived for 6 months because the damage had been done. She had kidney failure. But me and her had the best time together, and I used to create memories for her, and so she was like, I guess, a soulmate. And now in her honour, I'm trying to change the world and save even more dogs.
But she was so lovely right from the start. But there was a moment where you tried to help her and then you fed her.
Oh, I was still fairly new to the dogs, and there's a thing called refeeding syndrome. So if you've been like, even a human, if your belly shrunk and you're starved. I was quite new to dogs. So I was like, I got her off the chain and I was like, right, lovely big meal for you. We're going to spoil you.
Anything you want,
Yes, of course.
And it exploded her stomach with gas, and she nearly died the first night. So we had to sort of do an emergency literally punch her hole in, and the gas just came out. But she nearly died the first night, So I nearly messed up there. But
So you've learned an awful lot along the way.
Yeah.
And I imagine that you must be struck by the generosity of the people now that are helping you feed these 1,200 dogs a day.
Yeah, we've got a brilliant team for starters. Like I still do it every morning on my moped. I feed 100, but we feed 1,250. Rusty would have been one of those back in the day. And we feed them like a mixture of, it's fresh food, like it's rice, carrots. It's nearly better than anything we eat. Coconut oil, kale. So they get fresh meal every day.
So you're looking after these dogs, but the plan is, ideally you want to try and help control the wild dog, or the stray dog population over there, don't you? That's the big challenge.
It's really hard for people here in the West to understand, but there's about 8 to 10 million street dogs in Thailand. So it's like the population of London in wild street dogs. So if you go down to the local, Starbucks or a restaurant, there would be 10 dogs outside it. So yeah, I realised early that sterilising, which is neutering, spaying, was really important. And we've done nearly 80,000 dogs now we've sterilised. So that's stopping some of the suffering.
Wow. And people all around the world love their dogs so much.
Yeah.
And everybody's so interested now in your social media, which you didn't kind of expect, really. It's a complete surprise.
Yeah, it's funny because we're just walking through with these two just outside the studio, and it's funny, I was just watching, there's a canteen and there's about 50 people, and they didn't know who the dogs were or anything, but just you watch everybody's face like this, and they smile, and that's what I think why people follow me on social media is it's just a bit of good news, like you go on, everything's so bad in the world at the moment, so I try and just tell their stories in a positive way.
And you've managed to rehome some of the dogs too.
Yeah, Rusty's in Yorkshire, Larry's in Norwich.
Liam Gallagher's got Buttons, right? Is that right?
Yeah. It is, yeah. Buttons was a tiny little dog who just came in one day to the sanctuary, and then I got an email about a month later in our application. Actually, in our application form, it was like, name, Liam Gallagher. And I was like, well, that's obviously, it must be a common name. And then I saw occupation, singer. And I was like, this is just my mates winding me up. But it turned out it was actually him, and he'd been watching the stories and stuff, so it was wonderful.
I just love the idea of him having a dog called Buttons as well. You would never imagine it, would you?
No.
You'd never imagine it, totally not, no. And then are you going to set up a sanctuary as well?
Have a sanctuary at the moment, and we're building a hospital.
Building a hospital.
The hospital's open and we're treating dogs there, but we're building an even bigger one in the background. So that's named after Tina, which the book is about. So it's kind of she missed out on a really nice life. So it's kind of that the hospital is going to treat so many dogs in her honour.
It's an incredible story.
It is an incredible story.
And Sandy and
Look at all the ladies behind the camera going shh.
Niall's book, Tina the Dog Who Changed the World, is out now. Continued good luck with it. You're doing an extraordinary thing, and it's really special. It's lovely to meet these dogs.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning. Now, romance fraud costs Brits £80 million every year, and our first guest today is hoping his story will warn others.
Yeah, 70-year-old Roderick Lodge believed he had found love again after he tragically lost his wife. But what seemed like a promising new romance soon turned into a nightmare when Roderick realised his new fiancée had scammed him out of his life savings.
He's here now to share his story alongside the head of the National Trading Standards Scams team, Louise Baxter. Good morning to you both. Good morning. Good morning, Roderick. Can I start by chatting to you, first of all, about... So you lost your wife. You've been together for 25 years. Can you tell me about how this whole thing first started?
Well, I had been in the UN for over 15 years and I'd visited Kenya a lot. I've been based in Kenya from 91. And I'll be honest with you, I love the country. I love the smells, colours. But when my wife died, I was in a situation where new horizons, I thought. So I went back to Kenya because there were lots of friends there. And I met this lady. And quite quickly we became intimate. And I thought she was going to be a part of my life. That was in 2020. And then by 2023, I'd retired the year before. And I thought that this lady was going to be a part of my life. But then she got a job in southern Sudan. And we ended up, she said, look, I've got another friend who has heard about you. And can I invite her to communicate with you? So we started chatting on Viber. And we started just a chat every day. And within 3-4 months, it was going further. And even though I hadn't met her, I started thinking of marriage. Stupid. But anyway,
It seems, I mean, in hindsight, you can hear how that sounds, but in the time, in that moment, Roderick, you felt a real connection with this person.
Totally. And because I'd retired, I could spend more time there. So in December of 23, I went, and I was staying with friends throughout the country.
This is in Kenya?
In Kenya, yeah. But to be honest with you, by the end of the April, she wouldn't come to meetings. I said, come to Nairobi. She was at the coast. And I was sending more and more money for...
So the way this transpired, you had this original friend.
Yeah.
That relationship had to end for whatever reason. She connected you up with one of her friends.
Yes.
And you were just communicating via text, via email, via WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And this friend started saying, look, I'm building this house. This could be our forever home, but I need some money to try and keep it going. Could you send me some money to start improving the home?
The original lady, had told me that Anita, this lady that was created, had got a beauty business. She got 30 employees. She lived in a very nice part of Nairobi. She got 2 cars, 4x4, and sounded like a real businesswoman, you know.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of very capable women in Kenya, to be honest. And so I started funding the development of the house. She had actually built the house, but needed the actual internal fitments. But it ended up totally altogether about 85,000.
That's how much you sent her?
Yeah.
Over the space of how long, Roderick?
Well, that was... I sent a few thousand to Mary to help her just with her car and such. But so with Anita, it was over a year.
Over a year, you spent £85,000. At any stage, did you think, oh, maybe this isn't the right thing to do? Or did you get any warnings from anybody? How did the bank respond?
Friends of mine said, look, Rod, please, think about this, And
so they were concerned, your friends were concerned?
Yeah. But it wasn't until really the beginning of May last year that I said, enough. The last thing, to be honest, was that her dad was in hospital with cancer treatment, more money. And I said, so I got a friend of mine who lived in Mombasa to check the hospitals for me. No such person.
So you'd gone to Kenya to try and finally meet her because you'd been communicating, sending all this money, and then she kept avoiding coming to see you in Nairobi. She was some different part of the country. But by the time you'd sold your house, you'd gone over there, you were funding your stay by staying in Airbnbs. By the time eventually it dawned on you that Anita didn't exist, you didn't have enough money to come home, did you?
Absolutely. I've been very lucky over my years in aviation where I have a very good core of friends. And lots of my mates, in fact, they used to work for me when I was in the UN because I used to have air ops operations. And all the guys, one particular guy, a very, very good friend of mine, a French chap, he's a 380 driver with Emirates. And they actually clubbed together, the group of the boys clubbed together to get me a staff ticket home.
So you've spent all your money, your life savings have gone, you've sold your house.
Yeah.
And you realise it's all gone on a scam.
Yeah.
What did you do when you came home?
I went on the streets for 2 weeks because I couldn't actually find a location that would allow me to go into the system of being, without a house. And eventually Guildford helped me because I used to live in Guildford Borough. And they helped me. And so for 2 months I was in a housing, hostel.
Yeah.
I still had to pay, but thank God I've got a few pensions, but I basically live from month to month.
And Roderick, is there anything you can do about this now? Have you pressed charges? Have you opened an investigation?
I've done that with the Kenyan police.
Right.
The problem with Kenya, seriously, is it's a great country, but unfortunately you need money to do everything.
Right.
You can't get the police to do anything without money, and I didn't have money.
Yeah.
And they actually warned me, because we actually physically know where the original lady lives.
Right.
And they told me, the police told me, said, do not go there because she could say you're intimidating her and take a case against you. Not that I've got any money to pay for her court action, but yeah.
I think your bank, one of them particularly, reached out a number of times and said, look, Roderick, we aren't sure what you're doing is the right thing to do. I just need to give you their right reply. This is what Halifax have said. They questioned the payments you were making on multiplications to the legitimacy of Anita, and they gave guidance on romance scams. We spoke to Mr. Lodge on several occasions to express our concern about the payments, to ask how he knew the person claiming to be his partner was genuine. We explained the threat of romance scams specifically, but unfortunately he continued to authorise the payments. We urge people to never send money to someone they haven't met in real life and to always listen to advice or warnings about scams from their bank. I mean, in hindsight, you can hear what they're saying there, and it seems rational to us, and you've already said what an idiot you were. Why do you think, Roderick, you fell for this so...
Well, because the contact came through the First Lady, I honestly thought that couldn't be the case. You know what I mean? It's not like one of these romance scam operations from Nigeria, you know what I mean, that so many people get caught by, because I had known...
There was a tangible person at the start of it.
Yeah, yes.
Louise, let's come to you now. These romance scams are really on the up, aren't they?
Yeah.
Cases. Who's most vulnerable?
The people that are currently reporting that they are victims of romance fraud are the 55 to 65-year-olds. That's the highest category. It's gender equivalent, so it's equal to men and women. There's a slight difference, 52% saying it's men, 48% saying it's women. But it's massively underreported because of the blame and the shame around it and the embarrassment. But I think we need to call it what it is. It's abuse. It's emotional abuse. So Roderick was emotionally abused. He was coerced. He was groomed. He was controlled and manipulated by somebody he thought that he was in a relationship with, and who hasn't given money to somebody that we're in a relationship with. We wouldn't think twice about it.
Yeah.
So we've got to be kinder to people that are victims of fraud and scams. Even some of the language we say, we would never say, I fell for a mugging. We say, I fell for a scam. So we're putting too much heat on people like Roderick. So you're extremely brave, as you know, that I've already talked to you about, in the fact that you've come on to talk about this. Because the only way we're going to deal with it is by driving the reporting up, which will then drive the law enforcement response up, and actually us getting a truer picture of the scale of it.
What can we do to, if you've got family members, you've got friends, and Roderick's friends were trying to say something, the bank clearly made an effort to try and get him to think carefully about this. What can we do to try and protect the people around us that we're worried about?
Come on, Louise, come on, programmes like yours.
Yeah, Roderick, we don't want them to come to this stage, though, do we? We want to stop them before that, so...
Something about, so there's a acceptance of we're in what I would call a storm of vulnerability at the moment. Right. So you've got situational vulnerability. So without telling you, but we've had this conversation, is bereavement causes situational vulnerability. Loneliness, social isolation causes that situational vulnerability. Loneliness is the equivalent on your health of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Right? So we lean into things. And then if somebody gets us in one of those periods of vulnerability or susceptibility, we get pushed into what's called a hot state, which then challenges our decision-making processes. So the best thing to do is ask someone else who's objective. What do you think about this? What do you think about these communications? And if you're that person that gets asked, deal with that person kindly and empathetically. It's not rocket science, because then it's permission to have an open conversation, which then allows people to chink away at that hot state and see the decision they might be making and actually the reality of it.
Is there anything else that individuals can do to protect themselves?
The banks. So from a banking sector perspective, if you think that somebody has been a victim of fraud or scams, or you yourself are, report it directly to your bank. There was a new system that came in October last year, where if people have authorised and pushed money away from their bank account, they should get a refund as long as they haven't been grossly negligent. So as long as the person hasn't completely ignored all of the warnings from the bank, they should get a refund. And if they're vulnerable, they should get their money back. Okay. Protect your money with your bank and then report it to Action Fraud so that, again, we can drive up that reporting and get that intelligence.
Yep.
As Louise says, go on, Roderick.
I've lost my future. I will be truthful. I was hoping for a retirement in Kenya. I've still got lots and lots of friends there, but I haven't got even enough money to get an airfare there now, you know what I mean? And I do have pensions, but it would be very difficult to go there now. Unfortunately, well, it's impossible.
Yeah. But it's very brave of you coming on and sharing, because it's not often we get men talking about being scammed, even though, as you were saying, the stats are pretty similar.
Yep.
Usually it's the other way around. So, you know, thank you for coming and sharing your story. And
Thank you, I
hopefully
appreciate it. I really
anybody hears what we've been talking about today and it helps them, it's going to be worth it.
Oh,
Hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning. For all that, though, there have been renewed calls for the introduction of graduated driving licences. This follows the case, the very recent case of a 19-year-old who was jailed last week for causing the death of 3 teenagers just 6 weeks after passing his driving test.
Our first guest today is helping lead this campaign. Crystal Owen's 17-year-old son, Harvey, tragically lost his life in a car accident alongside his 3 friends while on a camping trip in Snowdonia. Crystal joins us now to share her story. Good morning, Crystal. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm so sorry about your loss. Can you tell us about what happened on that day back in 2023 to Harvey?
Yeah, so a few days before, Harvey told me he was going to go away with some friends that we knew from school. He'd just turned 17 a couple of weeks before, and so immediately I was like, I want to know more. Yeah. He showed me a video message which confirmed that he was going to be stopping at a friend's granddad's house, a cottage in Harlech, and so, you know, everything tied up, his story did, and the 2 friends we thought he was going with, you know, we'd known for years. So after work on the Saturday night, he set off with what I thought was one of the parents going to this granddad's house. He texted me when he was there. The next morning, I got a picture from the view from the cottage. So everything tied up. He'd left in like a thin coat, black leather shoes, tiny little rucksack, no sign of a camping trip whatsoever. And then I went about my day after getting this message thinking, oh, he's having a lovely time. I was really happy for him to have his first weekend away with some friends. And my literal words were to my partner, what harm can he come to, you know, tucked up safe at a friend's granddad's, you know. And then my messages didn't go through, like, throughout that day, and I just put it down to Signal. And
because you're trying to text him to make sure he was OK?
Yeah, like later on in the day, and then nothing, and yeah, and then from all of this, it basically ended up with us being frantic with Rory, finding out that they'd left not long after this picture message that I'd received. They'd set off for Snowdonia, which I had no clue about. And then they were missing, basically. And our world, it was just an absolute living nightmare. We were confident that they were going to be found, but we then found out that this young boy that he'd recently met at college, who was a year older, had actually been the one that had drove them there. So I was just in a blind panic, and we went to Snowdonia, and we were just following all these false leads, and then we had the worst news any parent could ever dream of. It was just horrific. So we found out that the driver had lost control on a rural road on a bend, and all 4 boys, they ended up in a water-filled ditch and all lost their lives to drowning.
Can't begin to imagine how you process something like that, Crystal.
I still haven't processed it. It's, yeah.
There's so many elements of this that you will have poured over and gone over with your family to try and understand, starting with why Harvey felt the need to lie to you about the trip in the first place.
I think with Harvey, he was a typical teenager. He knew I wouldn't have allowed him to go camping in winter, so he just twisted the truth. And, you know, it wasn't a terrible lie. They weren't doing anything wrong, you know. He just knew on that occasion I wouldn't have allowed. And he also knew I was a bit of a nervous wreck with him on his push bike, and I was always checking on him. So he also knew I wouldn't have allowed a young driver who I didn't know to be taking him to Wales. But this is just teenage behaviour, you know. He was the most perfect lad you could ever wish to have as a son, you know, and he just did what any teenager, we've all been there, we've all done that, you know, twisted the truth to get our freedom, basically. But sadly, this was to be his, you know, he never got to learn from this mistake, and this was to be his one and only trip away.
And the lad who was driving, it actually, he wasn't overdoing the speed limit or anything, was he? It was an accident, essentially.
Well, only a very tiny percentage of crashes are classed as an accident, so it's around 4%. So the driver is responsible, and yeah, ultimately his driving was what caused the crash. And this is why we're fighting for this law, because, you know, driving on rural roads, which is the most dangerous road you can drive on, you know, young people are 70% more likely to crash on a rural road. You know, this isn't covered in their driving lessons, you know, and it's just comes with experience, you know, so a more experienced driver would know that just because a speed limit is 60, that's not a target, you know, you have to drive to the conditions, if it's been raining, etc. So that's why we're fighting with this. It's not that, you know, we're saying young men are like
boy racers were saying that it's inexperience.
Yeah. We were
So-
talking about it actually in the production, weren't we?
Because my Jack is 18 and he's just
Yeah.
passed his driving test and loves the freedom that being able to drive a car brings him. Loves being able to share those journeys with his friend. Can you explain what a graduated driving licence is then, what the implication of that would mean to Jack and lots of other young people who've just passed their driving test?
Yeah, so it's been in place in many other countries for decades now and has been hugely successful. It's worked in every single country. So what we're asking for, there's many forms of a GDL, but what we're asking for is to focus on the 17 to 19-year-olds, which is the most risky age group, and we're asking for a 6-month learning period, so that could be with a logbook, etc. It doesn't have to be all paid lessons, but they need to gain valuable experience on all.
Because there is that urgency, isn't there, that when you turn 17, you want to punch the test really quickly, so you have to learn for 6 months minimum.
Because if you think, like, somebody could have 5 lessons right now and they would never have drove in the dark, they would never have drove in wet conditions, so that's all hugely valuable experience. And so we're just asking for 6 months learning period, and then we're asking for 6 months with no peer age passengers unless they are accompanied by an older adult, which means they'll be less likely to crash. And there would be exemptions in place for young parents and certain jobs, etc. And I think the message we need to get out is that, you know, this isn't a case, and I've heard it all, just because your son died, just because your son was an idiot, blah, blah, blah. You know, all these trolls and stuff say all this stuff, but ultimately, this is, you know, I'm not trying to punish young people. This is actually protecting them. You know, my son and his friends never, ever expected to get in that car and not come home. And I think any young person who is against this should speak to Harvey's remaining friend, who lost 3 best friends that day. You know, this is a lifetime thing. It's not, there's no restart button, you know, their lives have ended. And I think with this law as well, it would bring insurance down, you know, because at the moment, people say, you know, you're trying to restrict their freedom when actually many, you know, young people are priced out of driving because they can't afford it because of the insurance premiums, and we know that this law would bring insurance down. So it's making them drive, enabling them to drive, but in a safe way.
We also know that this law does work. It's been implicated in Australia, in New Zealand, and it's actually brought the death rate down by 83%.
That's in Canada, where it's been in place since the 1990s. I mean, this is the thing. In every single country, it's worked between 20 and 40%, depending, because every country has different elements of it. And that's what we can't understand. It's a proven method. The government keeps saying they want to look at root causes. We know the root cause, and that is brain development. So no matter what they want to put in place, nothing has been as effective as a graduated licence, nothing.
You're also campaigning for something called Harvey's Hammer as well. I mean, the part of your story that is so brutally painful is the fact that they crashed, but then tragically they died because of drowning.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I believe my son shouldn't have been able to get in that car because they're children at the end of the day. It's 17, 18, they're a child, and they shouldn't be in charge of a lethal weapon, you know, and responsible for other people's lives at such a risky period of their driving, like, you know, their driving experience. So that's my ultimate aim. However, the reason some of the road deaths have come down in young people is because of safer cars, and with that came, obviously, tougher glass windows that can't be put down in window and stuff. So in my eyes, when they did all these new safety laws, this should have just been mandatory in every car. You know, it's like having a life jacket on a boat. You don't ever expect to use it.
So if you get trapped in the car and you can't get out, there is a hammer that will smash the glass so you can...
In seconds,
evacuate if you need
And it would, I mean, it's rare that these, obviously, things are as tragic as what happened with Harvey and the boys, but in them situations, this is a matter of life and death, and they cost a few pounds, you know, it's not a big thing. It's,
So this is a second petition you're taking to Downing Street. Where are you with it, Crystal, and what do you think is going to happen?
Well, it's just frustration all the way, really. We've got over 100,000 signatures on this petition. We actually had a parliamentary debate with over 30 MPs turned up. Only 2 were sort of against it. You know, everybody else was urging the government, saying this is long overdue. We've got the RAC backing it, the AA backing it. There was 99 organisations signed the PACS manifesto, which included graduated licences. We've got every behavioural psychologist in the country urging the government to do this. We've got decades' worth of research and evidence, and we are just at an absolute loss at why this is not being put in place.
Have you managed to speak to the Transport Secretary?
I've had a meeting with the Roads Minister, with the previous Roads Minister and this Roads Minister, and we were hopeful that this government were going to do more, but we're still waiting on the road safety strategy.
Right.
And they keep saying, like I say, that they're going to look at root causes. And I think anybody, again, who questions this law should just spend some time looking into brain development of young people. You know, telling a teenager is not always enough. You know, when people say, oh, educate your kids, nobody ever expects it to be them. You know, no parent ever expects it to be their child. And with Harvey, I mean, this generally was the last thing on my mind at the time. You know, he was just turned 17. We had, as far as we knew, had not a single friend who'd passed a test. You know, he only had one friend who was taking some lessons. You know, we never, ever expected him to have a friend who was drove and for this to happen.
Yeah. Well, Crystal, thank you for coming in and sharing your story. Best of luck with the petition, and hopefully you get something back from the government. Regardless, at least it gives you somewhere to go, because it is really apparent. And I know that my kids have both passed their driving tests. We just want to keep them safe.
Yeah.
And if you don't want anyone to go through what you've all been through.
That's the thing. There's nothing more restrictive than death. And my son has lost his life, as many others. And I think when people realise that, like, 95 people every week are killed or seriously injured as a result of a young driver, and they hold less percentage of driving licences, they drive less miles than any other age group, that's a huge number. Yes. And, you know, when you know that there's a solution just there, ready, that would work, it's madness. It's madness that this has not been put in place.
Thank you for coming in
today,
Crystal.
Thank you so much.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
How beautiful is that? It was the music that
It's lovely, isn't it? Thanks to Hair Care Home's TikTok account, Joan's video has already been seen by 200,000 views. She joined us alongside her granddaughter, her favourite granddaughter, Nicola.
The world. Your favourite granddaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's not your favourite. Oh, you're not my favourite. Well, I love you all.
Yeah, but Nicola's the best.
Yes, Joan, you can't have favourites, can you? You can't have favourites.
Not in a family.
No, but
she's the one that's on telly, isn't she, with you?
I've got 24 grandchildren.
Exactly. They're all your favourites, aren't they?
Everyone.
I'd just say,
they are,
just so
really.
you don't have to remember all their names, I'd just say Nicola is your favourite.
Yeah, just say Nicola. She rocks.
So, Joan, how did this happen? How did you go viral, Joan?
What were you doing, Nan, at the home with Sophie, putting your makeup on?
Yes.
And then what happened? How many people saw you?
Thousands.
I know. Can you believe it?
No, I can't.
And was you reading all the comments and everything, what they were saying about you?
Well, not all of them, because I didn't want to read the dirty ones. You're not going to tell me there wasn't a few.
There's a few dirty ones.
I think they were all clean, Nan. You're all right.
No.
And all you was doing is putting on your makeup, and this is something that you do every single day, and you think you should put your makeup on.
Every day. When I get up, I go down and I have a wash.
Yeah.
Then I start to put my clothes on.
Yeah.
I think, right, makeup, where are you? And I slap it on.
You slap
Even
that
if I
makeup
don't go
on.
out.
Yeah, slap on, yeah.
And it just makes you feel better. I think makeup is the one thing that makes you feel like a little girl, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It does make you feel better. If I go outside, if I go to the dustbin and I'll be like, oh, get in the house.
Joan, you're 103 years old. I can't believe it. You don't look a day over 70.
Oh, how lovely.
You do not look a day over 70, honestly. And I'm just saying, you're 103 years old. And did you even know what TikTok was?
No, I thought it was a clock.
Well, Nicola, what happened?
I thought TikTok was a clock.
Yeah, well, so do
Honestly.
I, to be fair. I mean, I don't know too much
I never
about
knew what it
But you're a viral sensation. Everybody loves you. And everyone's taking your tips now
Yeah.
to put their makeup on.
Makeup tips.
God, I've got no tips to give you.
You're just doing what you're doing, right?
Yes.
And they're loving it. Nicola, how did this all come about? What happened?
So, Nan has always put her makeup on every morning. I've never seen Nan without a makeup.
No,
She's
you
always
haven't.
glammed up.
No.
And then the one morning, lovely Sophie from Millcroft Care Home, she was there and she said, I'll take a video of you, Joan. And it just went crazy.
Yeah.
I saw it on my Facebook page and I was like, oh, look, sharing around the family, look at Nan. We were like, oh my goodness. And then when next time I visited Nan, Sophie was like, look at your Nan on TikTok. And Nan kept saying, what's going on that clock? What's going on about that clock?
And the maddest thing is, you got over 200,000
She did.
views. I mean,
She
it's probably
did.
more than that now. It's probably at 500,000 by now. This was on the 14th of April. You've gone viral, and all you did was put your blusher on.
Yes.
Next thing you know, you're getting freebies sent left, right, and centre.
Everywhere, yes, everywhere. And everybody's coming on and going, ooh.
Everyone's bowing.
And Joan, has your technique changed at all through the years, or are you doing the same thing you did when you were...
No, I just do just plod along,
Yeah.
do the same old thing.
Wonderful.
And you know when you put your blusher on, do you smile to put the blusher on or not?
No, I did it first, and then I thought, well, when I drop that, it might... I don't do it. So I don't do it
you just
now.
put it on.
Put it on, yes, and brush it off.
But
like
you are
that.
beautiful, you know. I mean, you say it on the video, or was it Sophie who said it's on the video?
She's beautiful.
Everyone tells you how beautiful you are. Do you feel beautiful?
No, I don't.
Oh,
Are you actually joking? You're stunning.
No, I don't really.
Oh, but you are, Nan.
I don't know.
You are.
Call this upper.
She loves a downer.
Well, can you give us a little bit of a
do.
demonstration, Joan? Because we want to get a few tips, because obviously we're on this morning. It's a big show. People
Yes.
want to know your tips. Could you just go through a little bit of your routine
Well,
for
I
us?
can
Show us
do,
your
yes.
blush,
And
Nan. Your
explain
rouge.
everything
Oh,
for us.
where's my mirror?
Do you want me to hold your mirror?
Is
No,
rouge
I
blush?
can't
Is it
do
the
it,
same
just-
thing?
I didn't know that, but yes, it
Is
is.
it?
Stick your rouge
is
on, Nan.
And
Yeah.
that's a blusher, isn't it?
It is.
Rouge is a
yeah.
blush.
Yeah. Stick your rouge on.
Was it always rouge back
Do
in
you want
the
me
day?
to hold your mirror for you?
Well,
I'll hold your mirror.
Oh,
There you go.
okay.
There you go. Can you
Thanks,
see yourself?
Alison.
You're so stunning. There you go.
I've got to
So what are you
wash
doing
now.
now? What are you doing first? What have you just done? Just wipe it straight on with a sponge?
Yes, just give it a wipe over, you know, and I think of, oh, is there much on there? If there isn't, you have to put some more on.
Right, OK. So there's your mirror. Go on, bang it on. See, you're already beautiful without it, to be fair, but you are even more beautiful with it.
Need
No, I'm not. I'm just an old woman. Come off it.
You're not just an old
just
woman.
an
Do you
old
know
woman.
something? We're all going to be there. Well, hopefully,
lucky.
Hopefully, I will get to 100.
And we're all going to die together, so it don't matter, does
Exactly.
it?
We all go to the same place, don't
Of course
we,
we
darling?
do. So just talk to me when you see me there.
Without a doubt. Don't ignore you. Don't
We do
ignore
your
you.
tutorials up there.
I shall have my stick in the fire if you ignore
Come on, put
me.
some on me then. Give me a little bit as well. Come on.
Oh, wait
Don't share the love.
Wait.
What about me? Oh, stunning.
Well done, Nan.
Just flick it on.
Oh, you look
Flick
stunning.
it
Let's have a
on.
look.
That's all it
Flick
is.
on. Come on, give me a bit then.
Oh,
I'm
right.
ready. Come on. I want a
Now,
little bit.
Muller, don't be so hasty.
All right.
oh, I can't turn round.
All right, you got me. Make me look beautiful.
Oh, you're beautiful enough, you are.
Oh, thank
my
you.
Wow,
dear.
Nan, well done.
Don't make me even though. Make me even. Go on.
Now,
Henry.
stop it, will you? What have I told you?
You are a lot older. You've got to respect your elders, ain't you, Bab?
Of course you have. I'm older than you. Am I? I don't know.
You don't look it. I bet you're so proud of your grandma, aren't you?
Yeah, she's my mate as well.
Come on, even me up. Don't leave me hanging.
I've got 24 grandchildren.
Yeah.
25 now, but
And she always says, I'm the best, aren't I, Nan? I'm your best friend.
Joan, I've only got one cheek done, come on.
I
I've
know.
got the rest of the show to do.
Did I tell you not to moan?
You did.
Yeah.
Well, shut up then. Now, shut up and behave yourself.
Thank you. Can I have a kiss? You're lovely.
Oh,
you are lovely.
lovely.
I know you're only playing. You're so gorgeous. You really are. Thank you so much. Well, we got the tips. Just bang it on.
Bang it on.
Yes,
Look,
right.
bang it on now.
Great,
I look good.
She can do me during the break.
Let's go in there.
Lovely. Joan,
Thank you,
thank you for
Joan.
coming on the show. Thank you, Nicola.
Thank you for having us.
Beautiful.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning. But we're starting today by meeting a mother who's challenging the norm by refusing to tell her friends and family if her 4-year-old is a boy or a girl.
Leah Borromeo hasn't even told her child what gender they are, and she joins us now to tell us why. Good morning.
Good morning.
Very
Leah.
nice
Thanks
to
for
see
joining
you.
us.
So this was something that you decided you were going to do long before Riley was born.
Very much so, yes.
Why?
Because my partner and I were both quite committed to equity, and we both saw and observed how we were raised as children, and how we kind of got a little bit annoyed. So when I was being brought up, I remember telling my mom, why, or asking them, like, why are boys always allowed to do everything they want to do, but girls just have to sit still and be quiet? And for me, that seemed really unfair. And the same thing for my male partner as well, because, he was undergoing a lot of things as a kid, and he was being told and being restricted from doing certain things within, his upbringing, not by his parents, but by other people presuming that, of course, he was going to be good at sports, of course he was going to be doing, of course he was. But this was all the stuff that I just didn't sit right with us.
Right.
And
So you decided that you were going to raise your child gender-free. Can you just explain exactly what that involves and what that means?
So for us, it means not telling anybody necessarily what or ascribing a gender to them. So it's not saying you are one of an either binary. So their sex is their sex. And so when we are at the doctor's or anywhere else, it's kind of like, okay, this, or with a passport, for instance, or their birth certificate, the sex is their sex. The gender, of course, is how you feel inside. So what we're more concerned about and what we're focused on is making sure that they are able to discover what they are inside. And so other parents who are in the sort of gender creative community or in the gender free community, some of them do use a binary pronoun, but they still allow their children the freedom to play and to dress and to act in whatever way they choose. But one thing we've observed about that is once you assign a gender to somebody, immediately people will change their behavior. And we noticed this in the delivery room when we heard people talking about newborns having such strong muscles and being brave little soldiers and being delicate princesses. And it's like, they're just babies. They're both strong because they made it this far, but they're also very delicate because they need us to survive.
Is that a problem? Do you think it's a problem when people will describe the newborn baby that might be a boy as saying, doesn't he look strong, he's going to be really brave, and a little girl or a newborn girl as she looks like a beautiful princess? Is that a bad thing?
It's in an isolated circumstance, I don't think anything is necessarily bad. But once it just keeps getting repeated, and once it keeps being reiterated, then there is a chance that this child will only see themselves as pretty. They will only see themselves as this, and they will only see themselves as strong. And then maybe they're not. Maybe they don't feel that way. And that, for us, is something that we didn't want to do. So we've used pretty much everything in both.
So when Riley was born, and you obviously, you spoke to your family and they must have been so happy. What did you say to them at that moment? And were they surprised when you didn't say, oh, we've had a little boy or we've had a little girl?
Oh, I mean,
how did they react?
We had a lockdown baby, so it was a little bit stranger than other circumstances. So Riley's first interaction with any family member was through a Zoom call.
Right.
There goes my screen-free childhood. Literally.
That's a whole nother battle.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So when we did that, it was like, hello, hi, and I was just tired. And Riley was just kind of, nuzzling, half asleep and cooing and everything else. And then somebody in my family just went, a boy or a girl? And I said, well, they haven't told us yet.
And what was the response?
I think that kind of, it wrong-footed some of them, because there was quite a few on the screen. So I couldn't really see which ones. I just kind of responded to the person who was asking. And someone said, but you must know. You must... And I went, no.
And interestingly, when you say they, you don't mean the midwives, the doctors, you mean Riley.
Yeah.
Riley hasn't told you yet whether they are a boy or a girl.
Correct.
Which is an extraordinary sort of position to take. I mean, it's so unusual to hear. We're both parents. We've all been there. Your family are waiting. You want to know. Whether you wait to find out whether it's a surprise or not. I wonder how complicated it's been, though, Leah, for you and your partner, and equally for Riley. Riley's 4 now, right? So how complicated is it navigating a world where you've chosen to bring them up like that?
So in the sort of admin stakes of things, because you have to get a birth certificate, you have to do all of that clerical stuff. If they ask for a sex, we provide it. If they ask for a gender, usually what we do is we'll call them up or we'll send them an email and say, hey, look, this is what we're doing. And oftentimes they'll be like, oh yeah, I didn't realize that we put that on the form, because they just presumed that sex equals gender and gender equals sex. So oftentimes what they did is they either say, well, you don't have to answer that, or here's a third option. So most often, I'd say about 90% of the time, people are, and sort of, you know, even institutions, like our doctor, for instance, they offered us another option. Back in the day, the American government also offered us another option.
Yeah.
So,
which I think sounds actually doable when you're in a controlled environment like that, and when you're, you know, with Riley most of the time. But when Riley then has to go to school, what is that going to be like for them?
Yeah, well, we're starting school in September.
Right.
And so we delayed them by a year because they were summer born, and we thought, hey,
They're
let's
late
just,
for the year, yeah.
Yeah,
I
let's
get it.
just give them another year to play.
Yeah.
Sure.
And when we were at nursery, for instance, the nursery was like, oh, we've not encountered this before.
Okay.
Let's bring you in and let's have a conversation. And then they brought in other speakers to also have a conversation about it. So all the staff and all the parents and everyone in the wider nursery group suddenly got hip to it. And they're like, oh yeah, that's really good. And other people were really quite accepting of it. And so they just took it in their stride.
There is a moment, though, isn't there, I think, Leah, that people will be sitting at home. We have lots of parents watching the show with parents, and they'll say, look, when your children are in nursery and 4, it's lovely, but the kids don't necessarily notice so much. They run around and it's all easy. As you go to school and they get a bit older, it gets more complicated, and there's older kids as well.
And you can't protect them so much.
And all you really want to do is make their lives as easy as possible.
Yeah.
What do you say to people that will look at you and what you and your partner have decided to do with Riley and say, you're not making their life easy. This is making their life more complicated.
I can totally hear that. And you know, we have had not much, because we chose the primary school that they're going to be going to because of its accepting and open and sort of
approach
to kind of educating kids. And a lot of the children there are already in that sort of mindset. So one of the things that we really want to do fundamentally now is to build up Riley's resilience and to build up their ability to be able to answer this for themselves.
Yeah.
So oftentimes it's like, so what about this? Why aren't you doing this? Aren't they traumatized? Aren't they in some way shocked? Or aren't you doing them a disservice? And it's like, ask them. Because they are now more increasingly able to just say who they are. If a
They're
child
only
in the
4,
play-
though. I mean, Leah, at some point, Riley's going to be a teenager.
Yeah.
And we know the complications that come with being a teenager. And then if they look back and say, I can't believe you complicated my... That would be my concern as a parent. You want to try and get them there, arm them with the ability. I think what you're talking about, making them resilient, is a really, really fantastic quality to be able to help your child with. But that's what I can imagine people at home saying, this is going to get so complicated. Are you doing this for Riley, or are you doing this for yourself and for your partner to try and...
That's a really valid question, a really valid point to ask. And what I would come back on that is, who has not had a complicated teenage life? Who has not had an issue with how they have always been brought up? So what we're trying to do is trying to in some way denude it from that complication. So we have quite a lot of friends who didn't necessarily appreciate being put in certain dresses or being treated in certain ways.
So you think the way you're going to do it is going to lessen the complications?
We hope. Everything's going to be complicated.
Sure.
We're looking, this morning I had to say, Riley, please eat your cereal at least 15 times. I resorted to bribery. So there are so many things that are complicated. And now small people, small problems, big people, big problems.
Yeah.
And I know this will get harder. It doesn't get easier, it always gets different.
Yeah. And when you preempt the future, what do you see? Is Riley going to essentially choose?
If they want to.
Right.
The pressure isn't on them to choose. They don't have to.
Okay.
If they feel they need to,
Yeah.
they will.
Yeah.
And sometimes some people have already asked, and occasionally they'll say, oh, well, so-and-so says, you know, these kids wear trousers, these kids wear dresses, these kids play with this, and these kids play with that. And I said, well, what do you think? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about somebody saying that to you and saying that you can't do that just because you look a certain way? And I was like, that's not fair.
No, it's not fair, and I don't think anybody watching would think any boy or girl shouldn't be allowed to do whatever they want to do, regardless of their gender that they choose to be.
Running in the road, you can't do that.
No, no,
Oh yeah,
don't do that.
It's fascinating, Leah. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story. Wish you and your partner and Riley all the best. It's going to be exciting when they go to school in September as well. It's a big moment.
Whole
isn't
new
it?
world.
Whole new
I'm
world.
so nervous.
Yeah, you will be.
As any new mummies.
nervous.
As any new mummies.
And Riley will be equally nervous but very excited as well, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
They say the secret to a happy marriage is to never go to bed on an argument, but maybe it's to actually go to bed with someone else.
That's the theory of Deepa Paul, our guest today, who has a husband and a boyfriend. Good morning, Deepa. Nice to see you.
Good morning, Kat. Good morning, Ben.
morning.
Lovely to be here.
Great to have you on the sofa. Obviously, as soon as we understand a little bit about you and the book that you've written, there's so many questions that people start asking. We're in conventional relationships, both Kat and I. You have a very different sort of approach. Can you just explain a little bit what your status is in your relationship?
So I've been married for 17 years. I've been a mother for 12 years, and I also have a boyfriend of 5 years. And currently, I'm not dating anyone else because, as you can imagine, that's a pretty full plate.
I don't know how you do it all. In all honesty, I've got no idea how you juggle everything.
Well, I could say the same for you. You're walking over here while reading and, being such a bubbly, smiley person. So I think it's just, something that fulfills me is to explore new connections with other people and just see what that reveals about myself. We see ourselves in the mirror of relationships, and I think that's absolutely fascinating work. And part of what I wrote about in the book is how my husband came along with me for that adventure. And a lot of people do ask me how it works.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what the book is called.
Well, yeah, because I think you wrote the book because so many people were asking you questions about it. So here is my husband, here is my boyfriend, here I am.
Here I am. So the questions I received were mostly in the beginning from men on dating apps.
Right.
Ask me how it works. It was on my Tinder profile. I said to people, I'm here with my husband, go on, ask me how it works. And 9 times out of 10, people would say, well, I have all these questions. And it began just as an attempt to answer, people's curiosity. But it just grew. It started out as an essay, and it just grew and grew and grew. And, almost 400 pages later, we have a whole book.
So you've got a sort of exploratory book on how it works. But if we go back to when it started, Deepa, because you're in your marriage with your husband, but then you started feeling like you wanted to explore elsewhere as well. So you started sort of having affairs outside of the relationship, am I right?
Yeah, let's step back a little bit.
Okay.
I come from the Philippines. It's a very conservative culture. Fun fact, one of the last 2 countries in the world where divorce is illegal.
So you cannot get to... Is that because of religion?
Yes, absolutely. The other nation, by the way, is Vatican City, population 865.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people getting married
Quite
there.
a lot of priests there as well.
Yeah, so it was really conservative, and I just always felt I was at odds with the way people saw relationships and pleasure and desire. And then I moved to Amsterdam, which was the real hinge point because it's a very liberal city. And I saw all the different ways people could experience relationships, but also pleasure. And I wanted to try it all. So in the beginning, I explored on my own, but that wasn't really working.
Can I ask a question about that, Dee? Because you're in a relationship, in a marriage with somebody that you're in love with, you have a family. I'm not sure if you had a family then, but how did you deal? Did you cope with guilt in that scenario when you know that you're sort of traditionally within the relationship you aren't supposed to go and have extramarital affairs, and you were? How did you manage that part of it?
Well, I remember feeling kind of guilty and ashamed about how I was and all of these things that I was curious about. I wondered, am I too much? But then part of what I learned is I can ask for what I believe I deserve. You don't have to hide it. You can be upfront and honest with the person you love and trust that they'll accept you. And in the beginning, it wasn't smooth sailing because, stepping out of the bounds of a traditional relationship, it's a process.
Yeah.
But if
How did he react?
I was going to say, how did you broach the subject? Like, what did you say? And were you honest about the previous affairs that have been illicit? Or how did you do it?
Well, the affairs kind of came out on their own. It was one affair, and I'd explored online with answering ads on a personal site, just to find out about, all these things I was curious about. And when all of that came out into the open, it was a real hinge point, a turning point. So there was a lot of trust that had to be rebuilt. And we really sat down and had to have like this kind of come to Jesus conversation about, what do I want out of a marriage? What do you want out of a marriage? We'd already been married 10 years at the time. So there was a lot of trust, but also, just this moment kind of, destroyed all that, and it had to be rebuilt. It's not something I would recommend for people who want to dive into open relationships. I wrote about my messes in the book, so you don't have to make them. But, over time and just being consistent with each other and being honest with each other, we came to a place that's really beautiful for both of us.
And what was your husband's initial reaction?
Well, when I first brought up the idea of all the things I wanted to try that I was reading about, he was vehemently against it. He said, decent people don't do these things. Married people don't do these things. But I've always seen marriage as an adventure, as a team undertaking. And I said, I want to go on these adventures with you.
Yeah.
Is there some way we can do that together?
Right.
And polyamory wasn't on the cards when we started out. But now it's an option that for most people exists. A lot of people are exploring it now because of the flexibility and freedom that it gives them.
Deepa, what's the exact definition of polyamory?
So for me...
Yeah. Does it change depending on who you are or how you frame it?
I think so.
Right.
Well, I can't really quote you from a book other than my own. But for me, polyamory means the ability and the capacity to be in multiple intimate and romantic relationships with more than one person.
So you are now in a relationship with your husband and also your boyfriend.
Yes, I am.
Robert, and that's 5 years you've been together?
Yeah, 5 years and counting.
And so initially I think your relationships were very brief hookups, but you then fell for Robert and actually must have a real connection with him because you've been with him for 5 years. How do he and your husband get along?
Oh, there's a term I want to tell you about which is called garden party polyamory.
So
it's like both of them encounter each other at social situations. It's like the garden party you go to once a year, maybe like the VE celebration.
Right. Yeah.
And they're quite social with each other. They're very, a lot of respect for each other, but they're not required to be best mates. So there's a healthy respect.
Is there any jealousy?
I think there's envy. So envy is kind of wishing maybe sometimes that one has what the other has. So I have a wonderful domestic life and I'm fully available to my family. And maybe my boyfriend envies that sometimes, but my husband envies the adventure and spontaneity that I have with my boyfriend.
Because you do talk about that and say that perhaps at some point you are going to have to readdress the relationship with your boyfriend because your boyfriend's long-term goals are to have a family and have children, and that's something you couldn't do.
Yes, I was very clear about, what I could offer him at the beginning.
Yeah.
I think setting expectations at the beginning of every relationship should be something everyone does.
Yeah.
So for our relationship, I entered into it knowing that it would probably have to end someday if he finds someone that he wants to have a family with. And that's okay because we can have something beautiful and special and it doesn't have to last forever.
So is he having relationships with other people while he's your girlfriend?
Boyfriend.
Boyfriend, sorry, yeah. Is he having... Yes,
it's complicated. It is complicated.
Does Robert have other partners?
No, he doesn't.
So he's monogamous with you?
Yes.
So you're the only one that's having the cake and eating it and having two...
I'm kind of the hinge between these two relationships. Yeah, that's right.
How would you feel if he does go and find somebody? Would that be difficult for you? Because it feels like if you've been together 5 years, there must be a lot of emotion and connection there.
Absolutely. I think I would feel, sad about it and maybe sad about losing something special. But I've always known what he's wanted. And I just want the people I'm with to feel loved and happy and free, the same way I am.
So you want people to feel loved and happy and free, but your daughter is 12. So she must have some idea of certain things, but obviously not others. How do you handle that, and what conversations do you have with her?
Well, she's always known, for example, that I sleep over at Robert's house once a week. And she had a working knowledge of sleepovers from the time she was about 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So she understands a sleepover is something fun that we do. And when I left for Roberts, she would say, well, have fun. And I would say, well, I will.
Yeah.
And the next morning when I came home, she'd be like, did you have a great time? And I would say, yes, I did. But like any other parent, the details of my intimate life are not for children.
Yes.
So she has an understanding of what's going on. The most important thing is that she sees me and my husband love each other. Like she sees that every day, and that provides a solid, secure foundation for her. And we sat down with her, you know, when the book was sold, and I knew things were going to become public.
Yes, of course.
I wanted to stick the label on it and tell her, you know, from me, this is what's going on. And her answer, I'm not going to give it away because it's chapter 14 in the book. You know, what do you tell your daughter? But her response surprised me. And children are so wise and understanding when they have that secure foundation. And we've done our best to create that for them.
And how about your family back in the Philippines? Because, of course, as you said, it's a very, very strict country when it comes to relationships. How have they reacted?
I'm really lucky to have a wonderfully supportive family. My sister's in the studio. She flew in from Manila to be here. And my mother, you know, I lost my father when I was really young. So my mother's always been really present for me, very compassionate, and I've always felt unconditionally loved. I think she didn't really know what to call it, but she kind of figured out that something was going on. And so when I told her a couple of years ago that I was in an open marriage, she said, do what makes you happy, and everyone in your life should be in your life for you to be more of yourself. And you will know when it's time to let go. You will know you know what's best for you. You're an adult. And I just felt, you know, so accepted and loved. And I'm really lucky in that.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. It's a fascinating subject.
It really
Thank you
is.
for sharing.
And thank you for being so honest,
Absolutely.
too. Yeah.
Deirdre's here. She's been listening in. Deirdre, it's amazing listening to Deepa speaking so openly and honestly and sharing it with her family. I wonder what you make of their scenario and how it works for their marriage.
Well, I'm really glad it works for Deepa, people tell me that the book is just the most amazing read, but I'd be really worried about other people thinking that this is the way to go if what you need to do is sort out tensions and problems within your own relationship. It's funny, when I heard about Deepa's story, I must say I did think, is this part of her that just worries about trusting all her feelings to one man? And it's only now that I've just learned that actually she lost her father when she was very young. That may not just be a coincidence. So what I'd say to anybody who's thinking of going down this road is do at least first consider having counselling for your relationship, exploring the other options, sharing your feelings with one another, because it's not an instant solution. And I'd worry about the effect on children. You know, I mean, her daughter is just 12, so she's not into the teenage years yet. These are very difficult things to explore. So, I mean, I'm really happy if this is working out for Deepa, but it's not what I'd say is a way to go for everyone.
And imagine you'd agree with that as well, to be fair.
Absolutely. I agree. It's not for everyone, but it's all about finding what works for you, what fulfills you, and never thinking you're too much, because someone will love you for just how you are.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
Our first guest today managed to pull off the ultimate illusion and fooled some of the world's greatest magicians.
Now then, back in 1991, Sophie Lloyd became the first female member of the Magic Circle, despite only men being allowed to join at the time. The question is, how did she do it? By posing as a man during her audition.
Oh, wow. I haven't seen that yet. That's amazing. She managed to keep the Magic Circle fooled until she revealed her true identity and promptly got kicked out.
After vanishing without a trace, she disappeared for more than 30 years until now. We're delighted to say that Sophie is here to tell her story alongside the first female chair of the Magic Circle, Laura London. Good morning to both of you. It's lovely to have you here.
Morning.
Sophie, you're a hard person to track down.
Yes.
You went missing for 30... You didn't strictly go missing, of course, but you went missing for 30 years, and Laura has managed to drag you back in. I mean, Laura, it's an extraordinary story, this now.
Oh,
you are the first female chair of the Magic Circle. Can you explain, just in case anybody doesn't know, what the Magic Circle is and why it exists?
Well, of course. Well, the Magic Circle is a magic society that's been around since 1905. So, in fact, this year we're celebrating 120 years with lots of celebrations and events, which is amazing. I mean, but of course it hasn't it's changed, it's evolved in all of these the times that we've had over these decades, to a place now where we have this incredible building in the heart of London where magicians all come together, where every Monday they learn magic and come to see lectures and shows, and you can also come and see events. So it's a really special place. And I mean, it's always been a special place. We've got 1,800 members, with our latest being Sophie Lloyd, of course. And
I bet you
it's a place where magicians can learn magic and get together and share.
But getting into the magic circle isn't easy.
Really
it's
tough.
still very strict, isn't it? What are the criteria?
Well, it's incredibly hard. Of course, you have to do an exam in front of examiners. You perform magic. You are judged, or you are scored based on your presentation and skill. So you have to have both of those in spades to pass. And well, we know someone that managed to do that. So yeah, it's not an easy thing to get into. And and as a consequence of that, all the magicians that get together share really, really extraordinary magic.
Yeah. So, Sophie, how did you first get into magic, and what made you want to be a part of the magic circle?
Well, I came to London from Devon, where I was staying at the time, and I went to mime school in Hammersmith, and I met a magician who was there at the same time. And we got very, very friendly with each other. I mean, a dear friend. And she desperately wanted to get into the magic circle, but they just wouldn't let men in. Anyway.
Because it was only men allowed back then?
Yes, only men in the night. Yeah, only men. And so Jenny one day said to me, and this is not to do with this particular thing, she said to me, you know, I've got an idea. You could play, would you like to be my assistant?
Right.
And I thought, oh, yeah, that's good. I was a young actress, you know. Yeah. I thought, oh, you know, it was all dazzle then in the 80s and 90s. So I thought, yeah, I could do that, you know. I really thought,
Stars in your eyes.
Oh, I loved it. And she goes, oh, no, it doesn't work that way. Oh, no, I'm going to... No, men have women and women have men. You're going to be male. And I went, oh, OK.
And so you were disappointed about the idea of having to play a male character?
But yeah, I was actually. And so I went over initially to play Claude, not seriously. I had an island wig and we did show after show after show. Went on really well, took it all over London. And then she said to me, I've got the most wonderful idea. You could play my little boy. And I thought, oh, yeah, I could do that. It's easier to play a boy anyway. And so, small, etc. But we still had to do the pretense of getting a body made, you know, the foam body, you had plumpers in those days on braces to pull out your face, because I was in my 20s.
Yes, OK, yeah.
I'm going to proper wig, not an island one this time, etc. Anyway, looked really, really good. And then we were doing a gig, and she took this boy everywhere. Went to Hippodrome, went to Stringfellas, even so much that we actually went to, and she said to me, you know, why don't we go to a children's agency and see how good you are? And I mean, it's a big one. And I went, oh, I don't know. Yeah, OK, let's go for it. And they totally loved it. The little boy did, he was 12, he did.
And they all thought you were a little boy?
Oh, yeah.
No one at any point?
Absolutely not.
So when did the idea to take Timmy Potter, I think was the name of the character, right? When was the idea to get Timmy Potter to audition for the Magic Circle?
Right, how it happened was, they actually took me on the books. And
the child's agency?
Yes, 3 weeks later. But obviously, I didn't, couldn't do that because of no. But anyway, and then she was really impressed with that. That was it. She thought, wow, this is brilliant. So we did a gig. I was staying over one night, banged on my door and said, I've got the most amazing idea.
She had a lot of amazing ideas, didn't she?
And I went, oh, no, not another one. She said, you can play 18. And I said, well, there's no way I play 18. Come on, the voice, etc. No, you don't understand. I never understood anything. And so anyway, we can do this. After a lot of talking, I became Raymond.
Oh, so this was the alter ego that then went on to audition for the Magic Circle.
Yep.
So what did you actually have to do, and how long did you keep the subterfuge up for?
This is much more complicated because we took it really quite serious, this one. It took 18 months. We had to completely transform him from a child, back to the wig makers again. And we had an older wig made for an older child.
Yes.
An 18-year-old for that era. We had to work on he's kept the glasses, actually, didn't change that. But the plumpers had to be changed. And then on braces, a bit of plastic either side, and you put them on. but this had to be more elongated.
So it's significant.
So
I mean, you're not just walking in and you're really going to town on the whole look and the feel. So how did you feel when you auditioned? Because getting into the Magic Circle, as we've just been discussing, is not easy.
No, it wasn't. And also we had to have a new body made because it had a more older body and I wore gloves.
And then
to disguise your hands.
Yes, with a little boy, you didn't have to do that.
Does that make magic trickier, though, because you've got gloves on?
And what about your voice, Sophie?
Well, that was it, you see. It was a silent act done to the entertainer, the piano rag music.
Of course, yeah, Scott Joplin.
Yes, that's right. I have that as a ringtone on my phone.
Still now?
Yeah, even now. And, that was much harder. The actual... Jenny taught me for 18 months and she was amazing. It was all Jenny's idea.
Yeah.
I mean, and I have to say, I'm not, she was a brilliant magician. She worked with many top magicians.
She sounds like a proper mastermind as well.
She does.
It was all Jenny's idea, yeah. And we did Jenny did the whole routine. She played my manager that went to she's brilliant, actually. It was a 20-minute routine. And you could either choose your own venue or you could do it at headquarters. And we thought, no, we do our own venue. And we performed in front of 200 people and 3 examiners.
Yes.
And it all went well.
Wow.
And you got in?
Yeah.
Well.
The laryngitis.
Oh, yeah. And it all went, we did a lot of sleight of magic and big pyrotechnics, which was my thing at the time. I love pyrotechnics. Couldn't do that now because you couldn't. But at the end, they just wanted us to... I didn't expect this. I just think they said, oh, hello, that was OK, let you know. Oh, no. Jenny said, oh, no, we've got to go out and talk to him. I said, I can't. She said, just do it, only be a few minutes, have a bad throat. And I went, oh, it's really bad throat. I'm really, really sorry about this. Anyway, he bought me a pint.
Amazing.
And it went on 1 hour and 3/4.
Chatting to him with a bad
level of
throat.
subterfuge.
So you've got in, you fooled them all, which must have been fabulous. But then when eventually they decided they were going to let in women and you explained finally you could reveal the fact you were a woman, what was their reaction?
That was disappointing. I mean, I wasn't too bothered, but Jenny was mortified. When she found out that women were actually being let in, she gave them actual... I don't know how she did it. I think it was just a telephone, actually, call. And she said to me the next day, well, that didn't go well. Anyway, we left it because she was so excited. She knew these people. A lot of them were her friends. And she said to them, she thought they were going to, oh, you're so clever, Jenny, and all this, that, and the other. And it was so different. 3 days later, we got a letter to say, right, you're expelled. And she was so upset.
Oh.
And we went to a convention as me. I never went as me. I wore a blonde wig as Sophie and always went differently. And they snubbed her. But however, things have changed. We're going back 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It's so different.
Yeah. And now, Laura, things have changed. And now women can be let in.
Well, of course, yes, in 1991, they let women in. I was 8 years old when I fell in love with magic, but I'm very grateful to the fact that when I started discovering magic, women were allowed in. So I didn't really know any different. I can't imagine what it was like for someone like Jenny, who couldn't get in, who was going around doing extraordinary magic.
Yeah.
In fact, Jenny even performed at the headquarters in 1999 for the members on a members' night and got a letter, which I've seen, that says, thank you for such a brilliant show. The members loved it. So, yes, it's changed because I can't imagine what that was like being her. And now, though, we're such an inclusive, different place. I mean, I should say we actually snuck Sophie in before the big reveal on a members' night, and we put her in the corner, and when any members came over, we said, oh, meet our friend Raina. Nobody suspected a thing, which was amazing. Now, of course, it's very different. Everyone knows who she is.
And
in fact,
yesterday
we took her to a members' night, and she was there as a full member of the Magic Circle.
The star of the show.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Well, look, thank you both for joining us. You're going to do a trick for us. We've run out of time a little bit, so what we're going to do is we're going to record the trick in the break, and then we'll put that on the app so you can see the trick that we were going to have here. But unfortunately, because it's such an incredible story, and we've told it so beautifully, we've run out of time. But thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, thank you. It's absolutely fine. It's a pleasure.
Thrilled that you're back in where you should be as
Thank
well.
you.
It's really lovely. And we'll try and dig out and put it on the app, your original appearance on This Morning all those years
that'd be
ago.
wonderful.
That'd be really lovely.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Oh, hello.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
Joining us now is Carol and Stephen's daughter, Ellie, who was accused of her parents' murder, alongside the case's senior investigating officer, Detective Inspector Lydia George. Good morning to both of you. Thank you for coming on the show. Ellie, I'm going to start with you. We've watched the documentary. It's incredibly powerful. But right from the very beginning, you can tell what a lovely house you grew up in and how much you adored your parents. What were they like? The scenes of you dancing with your mum, and she was so full of life.
Yeah, she really was. She was a very bubbly, outgoing person, and she just loved to live. You know, they were both very strong, willful people, and yeah, it was just, they were lovely. They were really lovely.
So when did you first meet Luke, you and the rest of your family?
Yeah, we first met Luke. He was actually introduced by a friend. Mum had her own business and he was an IT whiz. And he actually was hired to help with the IT side of my mum's business. So that is how we initially met him.
So it became part of your parents' life and all of your lives. And then your mum's health deteriorated significantly, didn't she? She had a strange condition that really affected how she lived, didn't it?
Yeah, she had the condition anyway, but the understanding of it as she got older, her going through hormonal changes then affected the condition. So that was kind of the understanding that he led us all to believe. So yeah, and then it just went downhill from there.
And she got progressively more and more poorly. The condition seemed to really take a hold of her. And then she started communicating with a person called Dr. Andrea from the States. How did that happen?
So once again, I mean, I obviously too was manipulated. So my understanding of that is that my mum had reached out to a doctor, and then a year or so later, she then got back in touch. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. Whether it was just an email and that's how that started, I'm not sure. But she was a doctor that specialises with thyroid issues, and yeah, it just it was a massive relief actually to have someone to be able to help us navigate this condition.
And this doctor was offering guidance all the way through on what your mum should be doing, how she should be moving. Like literally, it was governing every part of her life in the hope that it was going to sort of help her with the condition, the thyroid condition that she was struggling with.
Yeah, it was everything, you know, how much rest she got, what types of food she would eat, how much sugar she would consume, her social interactions, just absolutely everything.
And her condition progressed really quickly, didn't it? Like, what was she like, your mum, in the later stages when your dad, Stephen, was taking care of her?
So it was about a good year and a half, 2 years of her slowly getting worse and worse. And by the end of it, I mean, she was out of it. She couldn't speak, she couldn't communicate properly. She was very uncomfortable. She was itchy. She was in quite a lot of pain. You know, and she was just absolutely stripped of her life.
And she was really desperate, and so was your dad too.
Yeah, I think we all were. We had no idea how to help her get better, and it was really sad to see someone you love deteriorate like that.
And it got to the point where, early on the 9th of April 2023, you went round to your parents' house. You hadn't been in touch with them. You hadn't been able to get in touch with them for a couple of days. You were getting a little bit worried. What happened that day when you got to the house?
Well, I actually went round the day before, and my dad, I was there most days, and my dad said he wanted a bit of a break, and I've got a young family, so I said, of course, and I drove past the house, and everything just looked normal. The blinds were down, and by the next morning, I still hadn't heard from them. I drove past the house again, and the blinds were still down, and my dad would methodically get up and do that. He'd do that rituously. And that is when I knew something was wrong. And I got out the car, went round the back of the house, and yeah, I saw Mum and Dad both there. It was very obvious to me that they had passed. The skin discoloration, and it was really, really horrible. And the house was locked. I couldn't get in. So we ended up smashing our way in. Yeah, it was very traumatic, to be honest.
In the documentary, it's such a striking moment, Ellie, because we can, on the CCTV footage, you can hear you screaming, trying to get to them, trying to wake them up.
Yeah.
And you keep saying she's done something really stupid. What was your concern?
Well, at that point with her illness, she was getting very confused. I mean, at one point she was ironing my dad's shirt on top of the stove and, things like that. She'd put bleach, in a cup of tea and, she was just, all the signals in her brain were just getting completely mixed up. So my first thought was like, oh my gosh, she's cooked something and they've ingested something. And, I really thought that it was a mistake that she'd done.
Mm. And then you were actually one of the suspects. In the initial kind of investigation, you were a suspect and so was Luke.
Yeah, no, that is right. That was certainly another interesting day.
And then when you took over, what was your kind of thinking?
So I came in on the bank holiday Monday. I was on call and I read the incident over the weekend and nothing about it seemed right. Two people don't die like that together.
No.
So there had to be a reason why they died, which was my job to find out and to find the truth. So following the post-mortem at the scene, there was, as I said, there was no signs of forced entry, obvious signs of suicide, and their bodies were unremarkable. It was quite a long wait to get the toxicology back, 12 weeks, and then when that came back, there was a fatal dose of fentanyl in Stephen Baxter's blood and a fatal dose of fentanyl in Carol's blood and also a double fatal dose of promethazine in Carol's blood. So at that time, that was the obvious cause of death and why they died, but it was then trying to find out how and why.
How it had been administered, who had actually done it. Was it an accident that had been performed? As Ellie thought maybe her mum had done something because she, in her confused state. So as the senior investigating officer, you're trying to coordinate all of this and get into the evidence of what might have happened. It was at this stage, Ellie, I think you discovered a letter, didn't you? Because at the time, this Dr. Andrea was still controlling things. This Dr. Andrea, who had been governing and guiding your mum's life for such a long time, had just sort of such a pervading sense of control over all of you in a way.
Yeah, so I actually found the letter, and actually it's only recently I've realised I was actually manipulated even into finding the letter because there was another fake persona named Jenny that I was in very close contact with, and I had told her that my parents had passed away, and she said, right, well, this is what you need to do. My husband's parents, like when his dad died, this is what we've done. You need to go through and get a bank account number for all of the banks. You need to go through and get all this and that, and it was in the banking folder that I had found this fake will. So even that decision, it actually did stem from Luke himself again,
So it took you 3 months to get all the blood work back, and then you started going through all the technological side, the tech side of Luke's kind of phones, his computers. What did you start to find?
So I don't know how he had time to sleep. We'd seize like 18 phones, numerous laptops, and going through all the digital evidence was just a task initially. Before we had the toxicology, we had Dr. Andrea Bowden and these different people, the solicitor of the will, and we were trying to get in contact with them. And I guess where we were emailing him and trying to get in contact, we were obviously contacting Luke, not knowing it was him, and he wasn't replying. It was only until sort of a bit later on, as we were going through stuff, that the sort of penny dropped, and we realised that actually he posed as many different personas, and there was so much sort of that was intrinsic to each bit of the investigation. It took a really large team to try and understand, all the lies, manipulation. As Ellie said, she was just as much of a victim as her parents.
Must have been absolutely extraordinary, though, Ellie, and amongst all of this, that you were one of the suspects as well. Until Lydia and the team could finally start unpicking what it was that Luke had been doing, to have that glare of suspicion on you when you'd been so devoted to your parents must have been horrendous.
Yeah, I was about 7 months pregnant when I got the knock at the door. And it just, it was, hang on, I'm being arrested for one. And then it was, when they said, you're being arrested on suspicion for the murder of Carol and Stephen Baxter, I mean, where do you even go? And it took a few minutes. It was like, hang on, wait, murder? That means they have been murdered? And then it was just slowly piecing it all together. And I think when I found Mum and Dad, I've never felt an emotional pain physically hurt so much, and it really, really affected me. I was early pregnant with my daughter, and it really did, hurt my body, and I think I just went into that protection mode, and I just needed to not let myself get too hysterical.
And one of the most painful things I was reading in the paper today, that you've had to move away from the area you live because that cast of suspicion is still on you. One of the things that's most important about the documentary, because lots of people respected this Luke DeWitt within in the area. People liked him. They knew he wasn't. They're still suspicious that it was you and not him.
Yeah, even still, I mean, you know, if I go into the shop, you know, people do look away and, you know, all that type of thing. And it's now I just kind of want everything ruled out. It's always the people that are saying that are still suspicious that did not go to the trial and didn't attend and, you know, and won't listen to the facts. And I mean, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, you know. No. So we shall see.
It's an extraordinary case, Lily. Did we ever, or do you think you ever got to the bottom of why he did it?
In all honesty, only he knows why he's done it. You know, initially we thought it was a financial motive, which it wasn't.
Because the fake will was just useless. I mean, it was your child could have written it.
Absolutely. You know, it was, as Ellie said, it was. I just think it was a sadistic pleasure, control, manipulation. You know, I don't know how long he'd pre-planned this. Like I said, only he will know. But it was a long campaign against them.
Well, look, I hope it brings you some closure, Ellie, particularly with those people that still are suspicious of exactly what happened. Because the first episode of Essex Millionaire Murders airs tonight on 9 o'clock on ITV1 and is on ITVX now as well. It's an extraordinary, extraordinary two-part documentary. Thank you for sharing the story.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
Only in America.
It's all good fun, isn't it? Joining us now, the man with the world's fastest sperm, Tristan Milker, and the guy who came second, Asher Proger. Good morning, guys. Good morning. First of all, I should say congratulations, Tristan. How does it feel to be the champion?
Thank you. I mean, I feel amazing. It's a record that nobody else has ever held before, so I'm proud to wear that on my belt. It's going to be a great thing to put on my resume.
And Asher, commiserations. Sadly, your sperm just wasn't up to it in the end.
Sadly, it was not. I think I need to do more training, take it more serious, you know, maybe rework my approach, but...
OK, so tell me something. How were you two selected to represent?
Yeah, I can start. So there was a man named Dick Gay, which is a leader of the company. He's kind of a person that was putting forward the efforts to, you know, get everybody to this event and with marketing and everything. He came to my door and he knocked and he asked me if I wanted to be a sperm racing athlete. And I thought he was insane. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was a joke, but I did a little bit more research and I talked to him a little further and found out about the rapidly declining fertility rates, not in just America, but worldwide. And I realized this is a real issue that we need to talk about. And I wanted to better myself. So I inhabited a lot of really great new habits for myself. I started eating a lot better. I started taking care of myself more. And, you know, it worked out well for me.
So I mean, there is a very serious point behind this, but of course it makes for thoroughly entertaining viewing and hearing all about it. Asher, I mean, what was your reaction when you were approached and how did you get into shape for the big race?
So my experience was similar. I had the same man come up. He's dressed in a suit, might I add, and he's like 6'7", which makes it even more intimidating and funny. But he came and he offered me a challenge, and it basically was, I'll just say it was a challenge, all right. And if I could complete the challenge, I was allowed to be the sperm racer because it showed I was really on fire and I wanted to be a sperm racer. So I thought it was insane, but he said he would Venmo me money right away. I did the challenge. He Venmoed me the money and I realized it was legit. So then I joined and I started getting in shape and more of a, you know, I started taking supplements and stuff. But other than that, I already was working out, eating clean, making sure I got to bed on time, all that. So I didn't change all that much, but I did definitely start taking supplements I hadn't before.
So what you're saying is this actually is a professional sport because you both got paid money to donate and to take part in the race, didn't you, Tristan?
Yeah, we got money every single week in order to enhance our biometers. So that means, you know, buying correct foods that are rich in zinc, antioxidants, you know, going to the gym every single day. I got a dietitian by my side. I had personal trainers. This is a real professional sport. And I know it sounds very silly, especially to people that haven't heard about it. You know, I've become a little bit desensitized to it, but it is a real thing that you can train for. The more healthy you are, the more healthy your sperm is.
And what about, can we just talk, well, two things. What was it like watching your sperm race? Because we were watching this, they've sort of AI'd it up a bit, haven't they? They've gamified what actually was happening to make it more engaging to watch. But what was that like, Asher, for you guys, watching the sperms race along that track?
Well, I'll say for me, it was very terrifying after that first one because I was like, am I about to get slimed? Like, am I about to get covered in this $2,000 racing suit I just got? But we didn't know exactly what it would look like. So it was very, you know, we didn't know who would win, obviously. It was completely real. We don't know what it looked like. So when they came really close and then tied and his barely beat mine, that was intense, I will say. But yeah, it was basically a live rendering of the actual sperm positioning on a racetrack. And then they took that data and transmade it in through like Unity or through Unreal Engine or whatever. And that's where we see the animation.
I mean, I love the two of you eyeballing each other at the same time and the drama of it. What's the prize you win? Do you win, is it just bragging rights, essentially, or do you win a prize?
I mean, I get to brag all day long to my school, but I also won $10,000.
Wow. Well, look, congratulations to the two of you. You've properly entered into the spirit of it, which is hugely important, and it is a bigger subject as well. And we thoroughly enjoyed meeting you both. Best of luck for next year, Asher. Maybe if you put a bit more hard work in, your sperms might be up to it.
Hopefully. That is entirely the goal. We want to make this a sport, so we're going to have tons more races. We don't know exactly when the next one is, but I will be training hard. Hopefully they'll let me compete again. I don't know what Tristan's future holds, but his is probably bright as well.
Well, unquestionably, he's got super fast sperm. It's very bright. Thank you both for joining us. We're in the studio now, joined by Britain's foremost authority on men's fertility, urologist Jonathan Ramsey. Jonathan, thank you for joining us. I mean, it's thoroughly entertaining for us to talk about, to laugh about the nature of this, but there is a really serious point to what they've done, isn't there?
Well, there is, and I think they're to be congratulated for actually doing it, because men are typically reluctant even to talk about their fertility, let alone to enter into a sperm race. So I think these two guys are to be congratulated, and they've brought awareness, because awareness is really the first stage of trying to correct something that may not be quite right.
And fertility rates have dropped. Why is that?
Well, they have, and there's been a huge amount of scientific argument. And like many scientific arguments, there are the protagonists and the antagonists. The more famous you are, the more likely you are to take a didactic stand. But I think we can probably all agree at this stage, after a great deal of research, that sperm counts are declining worldwide. Now, whether this actually impacts on fertility rates is a separate and consequential argument.
There are some myths about this as well. It was interesting hearing Tristan and Asher talk about the fact that they didn't really understand that there was lots of things that they could do to improve the speed and the robust nature of their sperm. But can we run through some of these myths, and you can either bust them or explain why they exist? Is that all right? OK, firstly, alcohol. If you consume more than 14 units a week spread across 3 days or more, that will affect your sperm.
I think we can say yes.
That is true.
And there is a linear relationship. So the greater the intake, the more the effect.
Men who've had children remain fertile forever.
Oh, that's certainly a myth.
Really?
I think we, the blokes, Ben and I and the boys, should start thinking that probably biologically it's not dissimilar from women.
Right.
So from our late 30s onwards, we may be becoming less fertile, because it's not only the sperm that wins the race, but the quality of that sperm. What happens to him when he's say won the race? Is he going to produce a decent embryo and offspring?
What about stress? Stress can ruin your sperm.
Crikey, that's a difficult one, because it's so difficult to measure stress itself, and then to relate that to a variable biological phenomenon, which is a sperm count.
Yes.
But if you ask me what I think, it would be unlikely if it didn't, because all those stressor hormones are not great.
This is an old wives' tale, but I do know plenty of friends who've actually done this.
Tried it.
You're more likely to get pregnant if you conceive with your legs in the air.
Oh, that's a wonderful one. Myth, certainly a myth. I mean, what that sperm race actually showed was that these little chaps move very quickly along a pretty short trajectory, which is in nature from the top of the vagina to meet the egg as it crosses the fallopian tube. So actually, these little chaps get on with it fast, and where your legs are won't make any difference.
Did it work for your friends?
Some did, but again, it's just probability.
It was worth trying.
Yeah.
And one last one. Boy sperm and girl sperm swim at different speeds.
So behind that is whether you get more or less boys or girls, depending upon what you do. In nature, biologically, that doesn't seem to make any difference. You get the same number of boy babies as you get girl babies. If you do something in the lab, though, you might be able to detect a difference in how they move.
You spin it or something.
Well, the girl ones might be a bit heavier. Yeah, because the X chromosome is a bit bigger than the Y.
Right. Okay.
Of course.
I could chat to you.
I thought it was that the girls swam a lot faster, but they tired out longer, and the boys would. So it was more of a marathon for the boys, and so if the girls sort of eventually sort of got tired, the boys would get there to the end.
Like the Joel Dommett. Is that what you mean?
I'm not sure you just compared Joel Dommett. That's one character we haven't seen on the Marked Singer yet, isn't it?
That X chromosome, it's in control.
Yeah, always. Jonathan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jonathan. It was lovely to chat to you.
As fun as that has been, it is a really serious subject, and I'm glad we could talk about it.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.